Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no, hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no, keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth, maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no, hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no, keep running.
Hello and welcome to week 5 of the NUEL Championship. We are here to cast some League of Legends. I am Orcs and I'm joined by my beautiful co-caster Sin.
Hello there. We're going to be here for week 5 of the National Championship. We're finally into the next stage of the competition where we're going to be seeing the top teams face off. First match of the night, we're going to be going UOS Fire up against Reading is hard. So that's going to be Strathclyde up against Reading. We're going to got the teams ready in the lobby. We're just waiting to start up. Just a couple more players still to arrive.
Yeah, so have you had a chance to see either of these teams play yet, Sin?
Yeah, I've had seen UOS Fire play for seasons upon seasons. They've been around for quite a long time anyway. All of these members, it stayed as this consistent 5-man roster. And there's like Ewan playing those tankier junglers. He used to have the Skarner respect banned away from him every single week. And that was over a year ago when Skarner was in complete irrelevancy. So even now, it's something you have to bear in mind. And Arup, famed for his Jhin play, plays a hell of a lot of that champion. And with the recent buffs to Jhin, where you can proc your W off of any damage from any champion at all, any allied champion at all, it means that he's that much more viable, and you could see that strong pocket pick come out from him.
Yeah, it feels like definitely the patch for them if there was going to be one. I mean, obviously, you've said they've been a team for a while, so they'll have that synergy, but this could be it. This could be their patch if they're going to make it big, because as you said, the Skarn and the Jhin, perfect picks for them. So most likely we'll see high priority on those. And I mean, I guess the fortunate thing for the side of Reading is that, banning a Skarner is a pretty standard thing anyway. It's not like you'll just specifically target banning a player. You might also ban that against a player who doesn't have a Skarner.
That's definitely a fair point. It's not really an abstract ban anymore. It's something you don't see and then instantly question or assume it's somebody's pocket pick. You just assume they don't want to play against that pick composition style with things like the Skarner plus Thresh combination. And all those things stacking up on top of each other can get very annoying to play against. But at the same time, it's this team that UOS Fire that has gone so far so many times, and they always end up in the top 4, never quite able to break it into that final 2. So we'll have to see if they're able to finally get that done.
Yeah, well, this would be a good start to it, being able to get an early win off today. I think that's the thing, is it's a lot of it's about confidence. Well, not necessarily just having the best performance, but having the confidence to play your best. Because obviously, having played for several times will be a solid team, but it's just that it's such a small difference between being second, third, fourth, and being the number one.
I mean, you know more about being the number one than I would.
Well, do you have some history of that?
I mean,
but
you chose to jump ship from another team at the right time. I'll say that much.
Ooh, I mean, to be fair to them, they have qualified for the playoffs. And I mean, the thing with I mean, if anyone who's listening doesn't really know, is that I played in the UK Prem with Excel and did manage to win. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's going into playoffs. As long as you make it, you make it. We came into playoffs in a pretty bad situation. We came in 4th, and I think it's how teams improve. And I think that speaks for any team. It's not how you get there; it's what you do once you're there. How you improve, how you get better. And I mean, we're coming to sort of the end of the regular split.
Yeah, but the quarterfinals coming up just next week, so we're going to be looking for really the teams to step up big and show up big performances now. And 8.5 has to be the patch to do it.
Absolutely, and whether you have come in on a complete clean sweep and you've won every game so far, or you've sort of struggled there, it doesn't matter, because on the day if you win, you win, and it's about putting in the preparation and getting to that point. So it'd be interesting to see what teams do to sort of put them to the next level or potentially keep their spot.
It's really that scrappy point where everybody's trying to get that last spot, make sure they can get into those quarters and semis and give themselves a chance to play in that best of competition. So we're still waiting on the AD carry, who I'm not 100%, I believe might be Fax, who we've both worked with in the past.
Oh wow! Oh well, yeah, quite a big name in UK League of Legends. I mean, obviously, I've played.
Yeah, I know he's dropped out recently, but he's on the Reading roster still, so we could expect to see him come up. And he didn't end up subbing with you and XL, did he not?
Yeah, he did last play. He subbed him for quite a few times. So definitely a solid player. I believe he is in the 2nd division Prem with XL's second roster. Actually, they have a second roster. So still obviously trying to play quite a bit, but Fax is someone who's always hovered at like a mid-master sort of level and very accomplished player. And particularly just, I mean, within the NUEL is definitely on the stronger level and comparable to some players like Kerbros, Scudzy, who are definitely top tier players
Definitely,
and
yeah.
sort of branched out from not just playing the NUEL but playing in other areas. And it looks like we do have him. He's just jumped in.
There he is. That's the boy Fax.
Yeah, so we should be getting into ban underway quite soon.
But we've considering we've both worked with Fax in the past, there's another AD carry that really excels on that sort of Jin play, the more utility-based AD carries. I remember his Ashe being a particularly strong pick as well. But he ends up showing up on some surprising picks. It's like he's got a fairly wide range of picks he can choose from, but don't tell him to play Zyre. I think that was the experience I got while working with him.
Wow. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's an interesting one because Zaya is so formidable at the moment, I'd
Yeah,
say.
I wonder if things have changed. It's been a long time after all.
Yeah, that is fair. But I have no doubt that he'll still be happy to bring out the Jin if needs be.
Yeah, that's definitely both of these AD carries really favor that Jin pick. So be interested to see how much priority goes into it. But there's also facts heavily into the Tristana pick as well, as we've seen in the past from him. And Tristana has been nerfed, but still a very strong hyperscaling AD carry. With the only issue being that she gets bullied in lane by things like Tristana and Caitlyn now.
Yeah,
Sorry, Tristana, Varus, and Caitlyn rather.
and I suppose that Jin might be an issue as well in the laner
Yeah.
phase. So, I mean, that's a difficulty. Is obviously you'd be confident on the Trist, but having to pick that into Jin if the other team gets it. But it'd be interesting to see what they prioritize. Lots of picks. I'm going to tell them that way already.
Yeah.
Just to apologize to anyone watching this. I'm quite new to this whole operating the stream, so there might be a few bugs and stuff. But as I'm saying that, we do get into pick ban, and
a couple of teething issues. We'll get there, but yeah, pick and ban does start out, and instantly we see that Tristana ban towards Fax. Maybe listening in a little bit on that one, but it is a pick he's played a lot of, and you can understand the respect ban of taking that away from him.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Ruling out that as a hyper, and it looks like they're throwing another 80 carry at ban at him, so wasting no time here.
It's interesting with so many AD carry bans, it sets up an AD carry first pick, so I think the Jin has to actually be a ban away to take that away from him. So Arup doesn't end up going on a comfort pick. You can force him onto something a little more abstract by banning out all these AD carries. And that's just a pocket pick for Antwall, and that's taking away his Singed.
I suppose,
he could be playing that in the top lane. That's a pick he plays a lot of in solo queue.
Yeah, and that'd be an issue for Jin as well. But we're actually seeing the Caitlyn come out. Definitely a strong pick. Something we saw. I'm guessing you saw Fnatic play Caitlyn Morgana, so potential for that to come out.
Interesting that the Scion locked in straight away, and because they've locked in the Cassiopeia with it, it takes away the potential for a flex to Scion mid. However, it's still a strong pick that can flex to the support role, as we've seen in the past as well. We did have the highest win rate in support for, I think it was around 4 months in Korea at one point. But all the same, still a very strong pick and still has those very high base damages. And when you've got the Banner of Command that you can build so early on him, it's definitely a lot of comfort.
Absolutely, and just such a huge front line. And I think that's the issue, is that in the mid game, a Caitlyn won't be able to cut through that Scion.
Definitely so, but we've got to think about what's going to be going into this Caitlyn now, and you have to think something along the lines of the Xayah would be necessary here with the Varus and the Tristana taken away. There's not really all that much left. We talked about the Jhin. The Jhin versus Caitlyn is a little bit of rough for Jhin in those early phases, and you got to wait until you start to get to the late stages. You can start trying to punish Caitlyn in that mid-game power trough that she does go through when she's just waiting on those Energizer items.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you really need to hit that power spike. They will have the Nunu on the side. And I would wonder if they're going to pick a support that will help facilitate that Caitlyn. You have the Nunu for the attack speed, maybe a Janna or something to sort of accelerate past that mid-game trough.
Yeah, Ewan has played a lot of this Nunu in the past as well. It's those sort of tanky junglers that weren't really meta about a year ago, but then all started to get buffed one by one. The more obscure champions. And it's funny, the champions he played were Skarner, Zac, and Nunu. And suddenly, this year, they all became relevant, and he just seemed to stop playing them until they stopped being relevant again.
Yeah, we sure he doesn't have a connection at Riot or something along that line. God, it does make me wonder slightly.
It's with that Jhin taken, now it's going to be a bit of a rough early phase, as we said, for facts, but we've got to look towards the support roles. Neither support seems to have been picked up unless the Scion is a flex. So, with the Braum banned away, which would be great at shutting down that Caitlyn's long-range auto attacks, got to think about what else you can put in the place of that to be able to try and shut down the Caitlyn, at least be able to get on top of her, because with her long range, she's really hard to work around in those mid-game stages when she starts to get the traps stacking up.
Yeah, offers just so much control, and I think that's the thing with the Nunu as well, is the sheer zone control. It's so hard to sort of move into an area when you know that the Nunu could charge up the absolute zero if you try and push past him, and there's the Caitlyn traps as well. And I guess the Syndra contributes that too.
Definitely so, but I like the Janna here. It's going to give Jhin a lot even easier laning phase, a lot more ability to trade with the Caitlyn, and it makes the matchup a little bit easier for him in those early stages. We don't really know how the matchup's going to fully be. We just see the Caitlyn for now, but it's definitely something that's going to enable Fax to get to those stages of the game where he can be more relevant.
Yeah, and I think that's something as well as the fact that we talked about how Fax is sort of one of the stronger players on his roster. And I mean, I think the Janna pick is facilitating him, and that's what you want to do because you know he's capable of carrying, particularly when he's on a pick he's so confident on.
Yeah.
You want to have a support that'll let him have a good laning phase, scale up till he gets his core items and be able to carry.
So with the Cho'Gath being locked in here, under the assumption that it is going to be the Cho'Gath versus the Sion top lane, it's an interesting matchup where you can see the Cho'Gaths wanting to get the percentage health damage from the E's down early. Sion has the massive percentage health shields, still has very high base damages, so he can look to essentially clear the wave before Cho'Gath can really look to trade with him, and that's where Sion's always had his strength and his ability to just have that large amount of AoE damage on the EW and Q to get rid of the wave and then not have to worry about trading with the opposing champions as much.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I don't know if you're watching earlier, but when SKT was playing, I actually saw Foul get solo killed as the Cho'Gath. So I mean, we say how these tank fist tank matchups are a bit like wet noodle fights. Sion and Cho'Gath do have a bit more damage than the average tanks. There is a bit more kill potential. So if there is a bit of a skill discrepancy, you can be punished.
It's definitely looking to try and punish the other, but it's going to be Terrakio versus Antbolin here, as we assume, unless they've not got an LCS order and we've been completely destroyed.
Yeah, that would be quite a good. Yeah, looks like they aren't.
Yeah, it looks like they aren't indeed, and it's the Kazakhs with Smite mid lane otherwise, so I don't think it's necessarily going to be that way. But looking towards the matchup in the mid lane here, Syndra versus Cassiopeia. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one goes, as Cassiopeia traditionally a tier champion. With the tier changes on 8.4, going to be much easier to go for that route. And with Syndra, having the AP item changes work well for her as well, going for that more burst-oriented build, you can go for the Luden's Echo, and it gives you that 20% CDR, you get the extra burst damage, and it's so much more of a viable item spike, and it works actually better than Morello Nomicon used to do as a spike.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, just adding that extra oomph to her base potential, especially when you have these I mean, apart from the Sion, obviously, you have these targets in the team that Syndra can very viably kill in one combo.
Yeah, it works so well for Syndra as well, because she can move while casting, and she's spamming all those abilities. So the Luden's Echo stacks up that much faster, you can get multiple off in a fight that much easier. So it synergizes so well with that. That's what I expect from her. We could get some surprises, but that seems to be the most viable option.
It is a pick we haven't seen quite as much though on this patch since the AP changes. It is getting a small resurgence, but I feel like it is something that we haven't seen. The sort of core picks, I'd say, as in the Rise, the Azir, haven't been picked, haven't been banned, just sort of ignored here. I mean, Cassiopeia is something I'd still say is on a high priority, but it seems like the mid laner is going more for comfort than necessarily what might be optimal. Or do you feel that these picks are just good for this situation?
I think there's a lot more comfort than situational, especially on the side of Reading right now. I don't really see these picks as working together as a cohesive unit. You can look at maybe Kha'Zix plus Jhin, there's a little bit of pick potential there, but the synergy is fairly fringe. You look on the other side, and it's very much like the Nunu Caitlyn with the Nami to heal up. You're setting up an effective siege, and once you've got that push advantage, like the Syndra should have against most matchups in the early game, you can start to get those advantages, push the waves. So the Caitlyn's looking to push in the Jhin, get that bot lane tower, and then rotate up to top side, see if she can set up the sieges, because that's where Nunu plus Caitlyn is the strongest, and you can have the firing range with the Cho'Gath setting up those Qs, Nami bubbles, and Syndra with the throwing out the E's to try and catch people out as well. So that's really the stage in the game where they're looking to be the strongest. It's really it seems like an 8.4 style play style for a composition where you really want to be setting up around the Baron, getting those early advantages and pushing them in.
Yeah, and that is something to note. If their siege is so strong, aside from the Scion, who's engaged, I mean, is powerful but sometimes hard to pull off. The side of Reading are a bit lacking. I mean, if the Scion lands an ult, that's great. That's usually. But aside from that, you might be looking at the Kazakhs to sort of find a solo engage using his visibility. But when we saw, I mean, we've seen in the LCS how risky that can be. I think everyone saw the Gilead int. I mean, you're relying on having this. Sorry, go on.
The other thing with that is when you've got that Scion going in so hard, you can throw out like the Nami ultimate and he goes straight through it, yeah. But everybody else doesn't, and it ends up leaving him singled out under, say, a tower by himself, where everybody else is sitting a few hundred units further back, unable to really assist this Scion. It gives you that few extra seconds to react.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, Emil, I actually think that's something that is sort of tried and tested counter into Jin. If he does pop his ult, Nami can interrupt it from I mean, pretty insane range.
Yeah, he only gets 1 or 2 of those shots off before you can get him knocked up, stop him from really having that much more of an impact. So it's definitely, yeah, as you say, the tried and true counter pick. And the leading potential of the Janna Jin is kind of negated a lot more, where you can get a decent trade onto a Roop, but he'll just heal back up within 20 seconds of a couple Nami Ws.
Yeah, and I feel like that is one of the issues with Jin, is that he is a very set amount of damage. Once you've sort of used that, you're going to be reloading. And if you're unable to kill the Caitlyn in that sort of rotation, she is just going to heal up from, I mean, obviously the Nami thing. So, as you said, maybe not as much pressure as you'd hope from, I guess, one of the stronger members on the side of Reading. But I mean, if obviously Jin is in a position where if he gets to his mid game, if he gets fatality, I mean, I'm not sure. Actually, that's something to ask. I haven't seen that much Jin on this patch. What do you think is the optimal build path? Because prior to his recent buffs, like historically, it was very much the Ghost Blade Infinity Edge.
Yeah, the Ghost Blade into Infinity Edge Energizer is generally what I've been seeing. But you may end up surprising us seeing like a full lethality or straight into crit. But what I would expect, as you say, is that Youmuu's Ghost Blade, just because it sets him up so well with being able to back off with the extra movement speed while reloading, or chase somebody down for that 4th shot. It's just synergizes with his kit so well.
Should be loading in any second. We'll be able to switch over soon. We are seeing something about the Glacial Augment from Scion. Thoughts on this? Because I have seen it a couple of times, but how do you think it compares to Comet?
Right. So what I've seen this described as with going Glacial Augment on Scion is the I'm going to kill you if I die Scion. So you're slapping them with the auto attacks while in your passive form, attempting to kill them then. And it allows you to stick to somebody that much easier. You can chase them down that much easier because you've got the bonus movement speed. And it just enables him to get those last couple hits off on maybe an AD carry who he's gone in on.
Just getting things set up, and we should be now in game.
Yep.
Change the orders, everything, so it's all nice and set up. Yeah, just seeing a standard defense start. I don't think either team do much level 1. Early jungle pathing. Obviously, both junglers might want to steal away enemy camps. How do you think this is going to end up?
So generally, Nunu wants to be able to try and get into the opposing jungle and start taking away some camps early on, as you say. But Kha'Zix has the larger trading potential at this point in the game, so it's going to be about whether Nunu can try and get the wards down and spot him out early on in those into the game. Otherwise, he'll get Kha'Zix trying to get the jump on him, pressuring him out in those early phases, and that's where Nunu is the weakest, if you can get that extra pressure on him. And that's one of the reasons why he worked so well into Ivern. It was the exact opposite issue, where you could get in Ivern's face and steal his camps in the early game.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with Ivern, is he's great. If you can get to a camp uncontested, he's great at taking it, but it's quite tricky when someone's fighting you over the buff. because you're not going to be able to channel your steel.
But the other thing is, if you've already got it set up, that's the annoying thing about Evan. If you've already got it set up, you just walk in and click on it, and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, very true. We are seeing side of Red get the push towards bot lane.
It's definitely going to be an interesting one to see how this goes in the early phases, because of the we can imagine this is going to be a heavy trading lane, and that's why we see both of them having gone for the fleet footwork. And Sion's getting an advantage in the top lane here as well, but I want to track the junglers a little, because we see that Kha'Zix went from the red into Raptors, so he's going to be getting a level 4 fairly quickly, but he's choosing to actually forego his blue buff.
Does look like Nunu is just going to head up top here. We'll land the snowball. Oh, we are seeing the fight mid. Sion will go, but Cassio's going aggressive and will just kill the Syndra, the miasma, making it unable to flash.
It doesn't appear like the game's on the stream, is that just me? So I just got a message about it.
I think there's a bit of a delay.
Okay.
It should be coming up. Should
be. We hope so.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Just potentially having some stream issues, maybe not. But yeah, we just saw a really aggressive play from that Cassiopeia, and now miles ahead.
Got a big CS advantage, yeah. And this is one of the things where you can go for this tier early on. Having the mana on Cassiopeia, the way she works in the early phases is she essentially scales by having mana. You don't need a lot of AP, you just need the ability to spam that E and chase somebody down the lane. Be able to essentially use that instead of auto-attacking. It can be really useful to be able to pressure out an opposing laner. So he can walk right back in and start really getting in the Syndra's face, who actually went back and bought double control ward and 3 potions, really going for a much more defensive setup to aid her team.
Yeah, I understand that if you wanted to facilitate yourself with the vision, the issue is though...
Ooh, Zaphos taking a tower shot there, going a little bit too far forward.
Bit aggro. Nunu is in the wings, but is seen on a ward, so nothing too much there. And I think that might be one of the things, is that yes, you're going to make use of this vision, and it's good to spend on that, but you're investing a lot of money into these control wards when you're already behind, and it's not going to help you in terms of combat.
Yeah, it still seems like the game is bickering. Unfortunately,
heavy training bot. Bubble gets flashed away from, but Fax gets ignited. Follow-up's trying to come in. Good Tornado will disengage, and Nunu is now there to follow up. No flash on Janna. Last auto comes in from Patsy. Solid turnaround there, and a good bubble forcing a lot of summoners side of Reading.
Yeah, Fax does get out alive, but they end up picking off the Janna at the end of it, spending so much effort just trying to keep the Jhin alive, and that's going to cost them their first kill of the game. But with the Cassiopeia having such a large advantage in the mid lane, they're still going to sit with a little bit of a gold lead, still a couple hundred in their favor. So we're going to work on, sorry stream, we're going to try and work on getting the game actually visible for you as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'll go sort that out.
It's fine. It's just the teething issues, as we said. That's the real challenge of being a streamer, just trying to actually see the game. But just to try and take stock of how the game is so far, it's a 1 kill to 1, still a 400 gold lead for the side of Reading, and now the level 6 Cassiopeia going hard in on a level 4 Syndra, so such a huge advantage in the mid lane. Syndra's really going to struggle to have any relevance anytime soon, because she went for that double control ward, now sitting on just the Dorans plus a potion, compared to the Tyr and Dorans of the Cassiopeia. And this is really forcing out the TP from the top laner as well, just to try and stop them from sieging up this mid lane.
Right, the stream issue should be fixed now. Was having a bit of difficulty, just OBS, sorry about that. Everyone should be able to see game as of now. So yeah, just a brief catch up. Has been some trades going back and forth. Solo kill came from the mid from Ampborn against Alex, and later on a good turnaround from Eroop and Patsy. Got a kill onto that Janna and bin a lot of sums. Both teams sort of even, but bit of an advantage over the side of Reading for now. Mostly in CS, a lot of that from the mid lane, sorry.
Yeah, this mid lane is just such a gulf in CS at the minute. We can see that Alex has had to actually go in for the Tyr here just to try and have anything resembling relevance at this point. So the Cassiopeia now sitting on Catalyst plus tier compared to just the tier on the other side. It's really oppressive against the Syndra. It's causing some big issues. You can see that whenever Syndra steps up to the wave, taking large amounts of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the difficulty as well, is the fact that Cassiopeia has now invested in Catalyst. I mean, Syndra's main thing is the burst potential, and I don't think she's going to be able to burst through this Cassiopeia's extra health.
We could even see this going for the Abyssal Mask, which would mean even more survivability, and it would just mean that Syndra's pretty much never going to one-shot her until those really late stages where she starts to get the likes of a death cap. So it buys so much more time for the Cassiopeia to be free to scale and be the mid-game team fighter that we know she is.
Absolutely, I think as well is the fact that Caitlyn is the only real AD threat from the side of Strathclyde. So, and as you said, Caitlyn's going to struggle a bit mid-game. So until she sort of gets to her items, this Cassiopeia doesn't really have to, doesn't see her as too much of a threat.
It's definitely going to be a long time, but looking towards the other lanes here, you see the top lane's going fairly even. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this one goes as the game goes on, because they both have that percentage health damage, and the ult from Cho'Gath being available. Now we could see a kill.
Yeah, he is going aggressive. Oh, it looks like we'll be switched over to the bot lane. Nunu is in here, and it looks like Janet's just going to go out. Doesn't get to trade the kill. Really unfortunate there. Good play from the side of Strathclyde again. This Nunu's just exactly where he needs to be to punish.
And the Scion does barely get away in the top lane, so not quite a solo kill.
Oh, we'll see a flash going aggressive here. Cassie's going to keep chasing onto the Syndra. Does have flash available. Will use it and manages to get away, but a lot of damage done, and one summoner traded for two, so good trade for this Cassiopeia here.
Yeah, the Q movement speed from Cassiopeia, able to keep up with the Ghost, so the flash is forced out as well. And she can continue doing that. She didn't really have to burn much more than the flash, and the flash is on equal timer. So you can get the jump on her again, keep on performing plays like to keep the pressure on, because you force her out of lane over and over again. You get those extra CS advantages. You can see it's almost double currently in terms of that mid lane CS.
Yeah, and when Cassiopeia scales so well as on top of that, not a situation you want to be in.
But what Syndra's known for is getting an advantage and being able to use that advantage to one-shot somebody, get rid of the AD carry, get rid of a primary carry of the opposing team, so that the team fight is essentially a 5v4. You can't do that when you've been put this far behind, so her relevance is completely null. And it's going to mean that Syndra really needs a big team fight and getting a couple kills set up by the rest of her team to get back into this game. We need to see a big skirmish around that mid lane, because she's still 40 CS down, and even if there are advantages elsewhere, like for a root, it still means nothing when the Syndra's going to have no damage in those fights compared to a massive zone control ability from the Cassiopeia, and the relevance that Jin's just going to provide by having that utility of the constant roots.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be so difficult, especially when Syndra is now in a mobile mid laner without summoner spells, playing against the Jhin and the Cassiopeia, and the fact that it's an Infernal Drake now. Maybe if it was a less important or impactful Drake, it might be a bit of a better situation for the side of Strathclyde scale up here. But I feel like it's going to be difficult just to give it this Infernal.
It's when you've got the scaling advantage in all but ADC, and you've got the control to be able to...
Oh, we'll see the Jhin ult come down here. Kha'Zix's looking to find a play. Does get knocked away from the Nami ult, and a flash will find some space. But a great stun from the Cassiopeia. Root follows up from the Jhin. Will the damage be there? Not quite. Good flash finds the bait, and the Nunu manages to... Oh, but the ace in the hole comes through. It wasn't blocked, and Strathclyde managed to turn and get a good kill back on a Zathos. Syndra does find this Cassiopeia. Ult doesn't have enough damage though, and this is the issue. Lacking the AP, doesn't get the kill and gets cleaned up by the rest of Reading.
And that's all of the work that Ant Boland's been putting up until this point, showing why it's been that important. And although they do lose the AD carry, the support to a root, threading the needle with that ace in the hole, it's still getting that kill back, getting another kill onto this Cassiopeia, who we know can be able to take over the game once you get to those stages. So it's just being able to try and shut down this bot lane. We need to see this Kha'Zix come down there more and more and try and make these plays. That one backfired, but we need to see at least more attempts of that to be able to give the Jhin and Janna some respite. I mean,
yeah.
Janna's still level 5.
Yeah, Janna really been struggling here. Does find a
Oh.
route now onto the Caitlyn. There will be a follow-up from the Ignite. And the auto. Another auto. Oh, and the turnaround for the trap. And Erup escapes on slithers of HP. And this is the issue. Janna just not having the levels, not having the impact, and getting turned on consistently. I think this is the third time we've seen the Janna go aggressive and it just get turned around. One being quite close to the kill. And it feels like Strathclyde are just hanging this in front of them, the low HP, and Zaphos is biting.
I think at this point it was worse to chase her because the fleet footwork went off on top of the heals from Nami. It was just too risky to go in for the bait, and Jin backing off as well. There was no need to go that risky. Currently 0-4, as we said, only just hit level 6 as well. So it's really unfortunate for Zaphos, and it's more unfortunate for Fax though, because Fax has had a fairly decent laning phase in spite of the fact that the Caitlyn has been getting more and more fed, but still able to hold the pressure, not giving up that tower anytime soon. It's just a case of trying to get rein in his support, stop his support from walking in and dying repeatedly.
Just
They
looking
need
at
to transition out of the laning phase because this is a really big issue. I can't see stopping anytime soon.
Absolutely. If you look at the goal difference, the teams are actually even, despite the fact that Cassiopeia is 1600 gold ahead. And that's because all these kills over the enemy bot lane of Strathclyde has just given them such a lead. But looks like Kha'Zix is going to find the Nuna here. Jumps in front, tries to get the Bask home, but won't find it.
Oh no.
He disengage ult from the Nami. Bubble does come, followed up by a trap. And the Caitlyn should have enough damage. Nami picks up the kill. But they managed to take out the Kha'Zix, so good play to counter there. And it just seems this is what Strathclyde is consistently doing. Reading goes aggressive, they try and overchase, and they get punished.
It's exactly the case, and although
Looks
this
like
is going
Patsy's
the
got
other
a
way,
yeah, bit too aggressive, and will get bursted. And I think you have to respect the fact that Jin is extremely strong on this one-item spike. Just blows up Patsy.
yeah, now he has got that Ghost Blade completed. The lethality is huge, and interesting start though. We did see him in this game. It didn't click earlier. He went for the Doran's Ring, so the adaptive damage coming out as AP means that his laning phase wasn't quite as strong as it could have been, but
I think we
getting
saw that
extra kill for himself. Yeah,
definitely. I think we saw that from the early levels, though, is the fact that maybe his trading wasn't as good, but he was able to push the early levels due to the extra mana.
it's definitely the trade-off you have to give for losing that extra adaptive damage.
Looks like
ooh,
Strathclyde are going to try put some pressure down onto them, but they are just running at them with a Nunu, so can't do much else. Oh, but TP does come in from the Scion. Jin opens up with their ult. Some good dodges and a good trap, but Scion will try and collapse. Sidesteps the ult, and it looks like they're going to CC up the Scion. Eru very low though, and Kha'Zix will find the kill. Good play from Redding, but can the Kha'Zix get out? And it appears so. It looks like they're going to try and get this dive. Cassiopeia has moved down though.
Oh, really?
Great
nice
ult
shot.
comes in, gets the stun, gets the follow-up. Syndra is here, and might be looking to turn, but she is against 5 members, and I think she knows she needs to back off.
Really clean dive there, able to get the 2 kills, and that's going to give them a comfortable lead, but they're not going to have the time to be able to take this bot lane tower. It looks like this should be going over to Terrakio if he's willing to keep pushing here. They are going to lose the Infernal Dragon though, so it's the first tower gold versus the couple kills and the Infernal Dragon. Definitely a worthwhile play here for Reading. And this is the play they needed to get the bot lane back into the game. Now we see 2-0-3 for Fax, sitting rather comfortably in advantage. And the Shogath actually backed off from the tower, so it does mean they pick up the first tower gold as well.
Yeah, so they win on all fronts. They're huge, and Fax will be... I mean, he's ahead now. He's 400 gold ahead, so great from Fax. Despite those purely mistakes from Zaphos, they've managed to caught up, and this is now starting to look really difficult for Strathclyde.
Lose lane, win game, that's the old adage, but it seems to be working out for Fax. That's why Handy's got red buffs, so you don't really want to be trading into that, and it looks like that is going to be the case because Caitlyn is lane swapping here, and it seems reactive, but they have tapped onto this, and now Jin is starting to head towards that middle lane to at least draw some pressure out.
Yeah, it does actually seem like he's heading bot to catch this wave, though, which... This is interesting from both sides, because neither of them are going to be able to hit a tower, but it looks like the side of Strathclyde are wanting this Rift Herald, and I think Reading has seen this, and their bot lane is going to move up and react.
Yeah, this is what I was expecting. You got to preempt the Rift Herald going down there, so you have to see them go mid lane, hard push in mid lane, draw them off of the Rift Herald. But instead, didn't really see it coming, react quick enough to be able to call it off. And the lane swap here being much more beneficial as you alluded to, for Reading, because they have the ability to try and push into the tower. They have the ability to try and make a play and get that top lane tower on the Caitlyn. Whereas it's just going to be Sion versus the Cho'Gath from the bot lane, so the tower not really at a massive amount of threat.
Oh, and does look like the ult will land from Sion. Don't think he has the kill pressure here, but
Just
tries
trying to get back to lane and thought he
Yeah.
had trade potential.
and a bit of trade. Oh, good stun, catches a Kazakh out of his leap. But the Miasma zones off the rest of Strathclyde. They're going to back off out of this Herald area.
Yeah, they've got control of this side of the map, though, having pushed in mid and top. They were able to try and clear the vision out in the river, so having the advantage in mid lane is buying them so much time around the map to be able to get these extra pink wards in, to be able to push so much deeper into the enemy jungle. And it's given them the ability to set up the plays like this. And looks like Jin did actually have to just blow his flash in the top lane.
Yeah, so the blast plant was used there by Nunu and Nami. Did catch Jin out a slight bit. Janna wasn't there with him, but just baiting his flash to get away, so not a huge issue, but will be a bit more vulnerable in these team fights going forwards.
It's definitely one you need to be looking out for, being such an immobile champion, but he does sit so far back in those team fights. He's happy to be the artillery. It's definitely risky, though, if you do see the likes of the Syndra get on top of him, not having the flash available.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to how well the Janna can peel for him.
Definitely. But the Janna needs to be positioning that much further forward in these fights than the Jin to be able to make sure that she's enabling the Kazakhs to have a little bit more safety, because he's going to be looking to dive rather heavily onto the backline, trying to remove Aruk or Paxi instantly from the fight. And now he's gone for this. He's going for this Dusk Blade as the first item after the jungle item, to be able to enable those ults to be able to do more damage. You get the Dusk Blade proc multiple times in a fight, and start to really be able to chunk through those carries. So having the Janna there on your back with the extra shields, giving you that extra AD, giving you that extra safety, is so much more crucial.
We are seeing endgame going aggressive on the Nuna now. Just trade some damage onto him, but trying to establish control around the mid turret. And I think that might be the objective they're looking for next. They are starting to push in.
Definitely with all the wards they've been able to set up and the positioning they've got, they need to be looking to either dive this tower or get control of the area to be able to siege it up.
Lionel's going to come in, but blocked by the Cho'Gath, and it looks like he'll just disengage. Channels up his decimating smash, but not much
the
more follow-up.
Really useful as a disengage tool there, being able to block off any re-engage path by just making that grounded area, stopping anybody from coming through, and buys them the time to be able to have a Sion ult under tower and get out scot-free.
Absolutely, but I feel like this is one of the sort of issues that Strathclyde has. I mean, yes, we've said they had great siege, but now that they're behind, it's really hard for them to find a chance to siege, and they don't really have any reliable engage. I mean, you can sort of throw the Nami ult, but it's such a slow traveling projectile. Not the best form of engage compared to a giant Sion running at you.
Yeah, it seems like the crux of this composition was win lane, win game, where you start to get the Caitlyn lane swapping to be able to get multiple towers in a row, but face some stiff opposition in Fax, and they're able to make that play to get the first tower for themselves, and that's really where it's fallen apart. The first tower win rate on this patch, especially in the more competitive levels of play, is astounding. I think it's around 85%.
Wow, I mean, it makes sense with the amount of gold sort of contributes to the team.
Really,
we are seeing a play mid. Righteous Glory popped. Silence comes down, but a great ult from the Cassiopeia to disengage. Stun comes down the Kazakhs, and he will just get blown up by this Syndra. Looks like the damage now is there.
In combination with the Cho'Gath able to finish him off. And they don't need to focus on getting rid of the Cassiopeia when they can do that. And now they aren't able to pressure the tower anymore, but they get the kill. They get a bit of gold in their pockets, especially onto this Syndra. Now they can look to try and set up around the dragon, which is spawning very shortly. I believe it's another Inferno dragon.
I believe it's actually a mountain. Sorry, I'm gonna look over.
It's a mountain dragon. Yes, that's what we're seeing here.
Oh,
And,
Scion goes to the ult mid, but isn't able to find anything. And I think they're gonna look to try and pressure this mid tower. As Strathclyde head towards Dragon, Nami ult comes out, just try and disengage. And the Scion will get locked up here. Good bubble. He is under the tower still, taking a lot of damage. Cho'Gath has his ult, but doesn't find it. Good ult from Janna. She'll flash to try and get away. And Cho'Gath's unable to chase. Oh, but in the meantime, the Kha'Zix has found the Caitlyn. Erop trying to gain some distance. Does get the trap and the damage down into him and turns around the 1v1. Huge plays from Erop.
Really well done there to be able to get out of that one and finish off the jungler. Wins that 1v1 in the mid lane here. Cassiopeia.
Ult flash comes in but doesn't manage to find the stun and just gets blown up by the Syndra again. CC comes down the Scion and without his ult, may have to flash here. Though does just manage to get away. And Ampolen, I mean, didn't find the success with his other ults have been so great. Ult flashed in, managed to find the stun, but didn't this time.
Really just an over-aggressive positioning
comes in.
Oh god.
Oh, and the ace in the hole is blocked by the Scion, but leads to his death.
Really overextending on that push into the mid lane there from Reading. They go hard in, the Scion ults all the way down mid lane. Even Janna going so far forward to be able to ult, loses half her HP for it. And that costs them so much. The Kha'Zix losing in the bot side as well means they lose that tower. And this is a big swing of gold for the side of Strathclyde, and it's given them the advantage now, sitting 9-6. They got the dragon, so the Infernal Dragon scaling, the Elder Dragon scaling rather, still going to be there for them as well around that 35-minute mark. You've got to start thinking at these later game points, these big win conditions that are the Elder and Baron.
Yeah, next dragon will be an Ocean. Not quite as impactful at this point in the game, but still will contribute to that the Elder Dragon stacks later on.
Definitely the ability to get the first Elder Dragon and have the positioning around that point to ensure that you get the second buff, which gives you the 100% bonus rather than the 50% bonus on all your dragons, and an increased base damage on the burn. So just having the pressure around that side of the map in this stage of the game can be so beneficial to your team. And it's just slowly choking the opponent out of the game once you start to get the positional advantage, once you start to break those towers down. And you can get the vision, you can start picking off members when they walk towards the Baron, and be able to get those objectives for yourself. And that's where the game is really broken wide open.
Yeah, and I think that's what sort of Strathclyde needed to get in that position where it's now on the burden of Reading sort of be on the defensive and push into the vision control that Strathclyde has, which involves pushing into the potential Syndra one-shot, or the Caitlyn traps, which is obviously very risky. And we are now seeing, we said this Caitlyn's going to struggle a bit mid-game, almost on that 3-item spike, which is absolutely huge and sort of where the Caitlyn does come back online.
Really what we're going to think about is if the advantage is there for the side of Strathclyde, how the hell are you going to contest Baron against Cho'Gath and Nunu?
Yeah, so much true damage to secure the objectives.
It's just absolutely impossible to get the Baron buff at that point, because you can just go, okay, we're at 3,000, now let's just nuke it down at this point, and there's nothing they can do to stop us. You just completely out-damage the smite of the opponent.
Yeah, especially when you're a sort of squishy Kha'Zix who has to pick his timing. I mean, if you're playing a more tanky jungler, you can just sort of go in when it's roughly at the right HP, but...
You just do a Leroy Jenkins as Olaf to get into the pit, yeah.
Yeah, but with Kha'Zix, you know, you only have your stealth, because after that, the Syndra is going to... It's going to be so difficult to survive any longer than your stealth, and you have to jump in on the window and somehow outsmite both the Nunu and the Cho'Gath. Very difficult to do, so I feel like Reading are going to have to find a window back into this game before the Baron becomes a real threat.
And the other thing with this as well, with Nunu having the ability to just hit absolute zero and slow everybody down from being able to get near the pit and stop a team fight from happening, is that much more of a control tool as well. We talked about the zone control of a Cassiopeia, but the Nunu can do it so effectively.
Absolutely, and that's the thing as well, is unlike most teams, you don't even need the Nunu to be near the Baron. The Cho'Gath can provide that smite.
Yeah. So you can have him be this zone control, and even if he needs to sit behind the Baron.
And it looks like they did manage to get a bit of control back side of Reading, just on those recalls. But Strathclyde are going to push back in and try and clear out all this vision. And this is the difficulty, is...
Yeah, the vision war. Ooh!
Yep. Does find some burst on the Nami, she will flash away, and an absolute zero will zone them. Scion... No, the... Cassiopeia is trying to find a play here, but is surrounded by 4 members. damage is coming through and will get taken out. TP coming in. I think this
Just
needs to be
cancel out.
cancelled. Yep. And looks like Ampol was just out of position without his flash there.
And it looks like they can go straight onto Baron off of this, having taken away the main damage as a mid laner. So we talked about this with the smite potential of them already. It's so hard to contest from Kha'Zix.
Yep, Cho'Gath does still have his ult.
And it's still secured by Caitlyn somehow.
Yep, but it was so fat. I think it was 1.3k HP,
Yeah.
and just instantly went down to 0. Really hard for ND game to find a steal on the Kha'Zix.
I mean, if a Caitlyn can steal it, the Kha'Zix can. That's the way I see it.
I mean, in theory, but I think it's hard to find the window to jump in.
Yeah, it's you really want to be looking at the point where you're comboing the abilities and you've got, say, 200 extra leeway, where you're overkilling it by 200, so there's no chance that they have it. So even if you land just one of the 2 abilities you want to land, it goes down to about 800, and there's no way he can smite it down. So
Yeah.
you need to be getting those timings perfect, because that's when Kha'Zix has the ability to potentially steal something. They do get it, the Caitlyn does secure it, and the Baron now, without the Banner of Command available, they're still going to be looking to have a huge Baron play with the NUEL plus Caitlyn, being able to set up these sieges so effectively. Now the rapid fire is completed.
Yeah, and Reading do try and clear out a couple of camps just before they lose complete control. And this is exactly what Strathclyde are going to try and do. They're going to try and get the vision control, get control of the camps, get that extra gold income, and set up that trap line and start sieging those towers.
And so,
like-
and now the mid lane tier 2 is going down. They're looking towards the inhibitor towers. Only that top lane tier 2 remains, and they've still got so much potential with this Baron buff to take even more.
Yo, getting a bit of damage on the Cho'Gath, might have overstepped, and the Nami ult comes down. Cho'Gath goes aggressive, looks for the play out of the
Oh.
Cassie. The ace in the hole does come through, and a bubble onto the Janet doesn't find her, but the Kha'Zix goes down in return. Great ult from Sion though, and this is when the Jhin ult comes in, when they're trying to retreat. Cho'Gath's in a bit of a sticky situation, and Jin's going to land the shots and does take him out. Caitlyn's still alive though, and she is such a threat. Flashing in, takes out the Sion. Now she's going for Fax, doesn't land the net, and gets taken out by the tower.
Just
And Reading
misjudges the
managed-
net distance and barely doesn't get the kill onto Fax. Fax finishes off. Now 4-0-4 on this Jhin, able to shut down so much of this Baron now. And this means that the Baron's gone to waste. They don't have the time to be able to set up these waves and get an effective Baron playoff again. Or at least they shouldn't be able to, as the waves will be gone. And by the time they come back, they'll be sieging without this Baron buff.
Yeah, that was a huge gold injection in Fax as well, which is exactly what he needs. I think they just went a bit too aggro on the inhibitor turret, and I think they used the Nami ult a bit too aggressively because they didn't have it when the Jhin popped his ult. Could have offered the disengage for that, but instead used it aggressively and got punished.
And when Sion altered, it seemed like the sea parted, and he had a perfect pathway onto the Syndra. Nobody was willing to stand in the way of it. And I think
Yeah.
the Syndra was just free to be taken, but they are going to get the Ocean Dragon after all of it.
I think it's one of those
The Baron
situations.
buff, it just completely denied.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where it's your natural instinct. You see this big Sion charging over, you're like, oh, nah, I'm not getting in the way of that. But I think it would have been nice if their Nunu or the Cho'Gath was able to step in the way. Their life
I
obviously
think
not
Nunu was
worth
on
as
enough
much.
HP to just stand in the way of that, stop the Syndra from going down, because once the Syndra was down, it's a lot of your wave clear gone, that's a lot of your pick potential gone. So
Yeah.
you just have to back off.
And I think a lot of the close range threat as well. I don't think Fax would have been able to step up at all if Syndra had still been alive. Looks like they're going to try and set up for a siege again. The tower is still on low HP, but the Baron buff is running down. And I think, yeah, it just ran off there. So not going to have that extra pushing power.
And this tower does still remain alive. It's still got a fair amount of HP, currently sitting on the 600 mark, so it's still being chipped away at though with this guy. That's quite good.
Flash from the Cassiopeia will come in, lands on both the carries, and the follow-up is there, but the Caitlyn's still alive. Oh, and the Locket does keep her alive. She is backing off from Caitlyn,
Oh!
but the Poison managed to take her out. Great play from the Cassie. The Cho'Gath is right in her face though, and she does manage to survive. Great play from Aunt Ballin here. Completely carries this team fight, and Reading are now going to turn and start to push.
And the feast barely mistimed there from Terrakio, not able to finish off Ant Bolin, and that means he stays alive, is able to pump out that damage. The Caitlyn goes down, and now they can look to set up the siege themselves, take down this mid lane tier 2, maybe even look towards starting to take control of the enemy jungle, set up these waves to push right back into the heart of Strathclyde.
Yeah, and I just feel once again Strathclyde went too aggressive and got punished.
It's definitely the case where it's just they step a little bit too far forward, and now they're losing their inhibitor tower for it.
Yep. Will Reading, no, it looks like they're going to back off. Happy with the inhibitor tower. Don't want to overcommit for the inhibitor, and they see there is a massive wave top. Next dragon will, of course, be the Elder Dragon. We have surpassed the point at which it will spawn at 35 minutes.
Yeah, it's last dragon you can take if you want to take the dragon is 28.59. Anything beyond that, and it will be spawning the Elder Dragon. So,
Yeah, and not a huge amount of dragons for either side, but there is 2 on the side of Strathclyde, so a bit of an advantage there for them. But it doesn't matter because it comes down to who managed to secure it. And yes, Strathclyde have had tempo for quite a bit, but they are starting to lose out and losing out in these fights.
Jin.
But yeah, Jin is overextended here, and a bit of a sticky situation. Looks like Sion's going to try and ult down to get grips with him, but he is locked in the middle of 4 members. He has his flash. Looks like he's going to try and go over the wall. And looks like no one's able to follow. He might be able to just get a recall off here.
With his Ghost Blade, he's fast enough to have gotten a large distance. He might
I
even
think
look
he's
to
gone
just
for the execute, yeah.
Oh no, he's looking to...
Oh, but the minions have found him!
Ah!
The minions have found him! It's the great escape! Oh, he's gonna get found. Yeah, there's no way he's not giving over the kill, but I think he's bought a lot of time. His team have pushed the waves out. Does get shut down. I mean, it was a big mistake, but I think he did run them far away and they managed to push the waves out, so maybe not gonna get punished quite as much, but Baron's up in 50 seconds, and Jin doesn't spawn for 5 seconds sooner than that, so it's gonna be difficult to contest with that, the AD carry, who has so much of their gold right now.
It's definitely a real issue for them not having him available, but it's really, you've got to think about that. He pushes beyond the vision line that they have. They need to have the jungle pressure to be able to push up to that point. At least he realized that they were coming for him and didn't just die for free. But by staying in the chase for so long, it means that he's not going to be back up in time for Baron. If he died instantly, he'd be back up 10, 20 seconds before Baron even spawned. That's really where the issue comes in here.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where you don't really want to die, but in fact dying would have been the best situation there if you did it quickly. Bit counterintuitive, and he did end up being in his flash as well, so could have saved that and got the extra time. So a bit of a misplay there. Strathclyde are trying to get control here. Lockup comes on the Sion. No trap to fall though, and looks like Jin will be able to get back in time.
Oh, but now it looks like they're going hard in for an engage.
Yep, Righteous Glory comes in. Sion does land the ult onto 3, follows up with a Q, and Kazik's going to look for the backline. Doesn't manage to get on top of the Caitlyn, who does trap and come out this stopwatch. Ult from the Jin is trying to find damage, but it's being blocked out by the tanks. Caitlyn is just DPSing away at the Sion. Does kill him, and channels the ult onto the rest of Reading University, who will manage to disengage. But a great fight for Strathclyde there, coming out losing 0 members and taking out the front line off Reading.
Syndra and Cho'Gath just able to zone out the Cassiopeia, Jin, and Janna all by themselves, and that's going to enable them to be able to get this Baron. Really well played on that fight by them. The Cho'Gath just slowing down the on-approach of Cassiopeia so effectively. And in the meantime, Sion and Kha'Zix couldn't finish off any members, so they get the Baron here. And now it looks like the tempo swinging back and forth over and over again is in favor of the side of Strathclyde, where they've got the second Baron of the game. Now they can set up these sieges again. They need another big play through the side of Reading to be able to shut down this Baron like they did the last.
Absolutely. And the difficulty is the play needs to come from these carries on the side of Reading, because I mean the front line is struggling. The Sion obviously doing what he can but doesn't have the most damage in the world, being a full tank. And this Kha'Zix is really far behind right now, 1 and 6. And you saw he jumped in, tried to unload the combo, not even onto the Caitlyn, onto the Nami. Obviously wasn't able to go through the GA. And just wasn't even able to kill the support. So really not being able to impact the teamfight very much there.
But having the Barons, so they're able to set up the waves to now be able to set up the Elder Dragon being important here as well. So they've got to try and take the fight here, and now they've got to funnel through this choke point. And when you've got a Cho'Gath, a Nami, and a Nunu available, it's so hard to go through this choke point.
Yep, the Sion ult will come in, lands on the backline, and a huge amount of damage comes in. Great Q, but the Cassiopeia is down. They have the Jin ult following up, but it's not enough. And as well as that, the Sion will come down. The true damage burn coming in strong from the Elder Dragon. Cho'Gath's gonna find the Jin, does moonwalk back a bit, isn't quite convinced.
Oh!
Ace in the hole lands on the Janna. Jin not willing to block it there. And 3 down, and the Elder Dragon going over to Strathclyde, so Reading are reeling right now. Only 2 members up, and they're going to need to defend against 5 in the side of Stockfight. I don't think they're going to be able to.
Yeah, this is what they call the game ender, when they have both of these buffs. You hate to see it, but this is it. With too much pressure, they should just be able to set up, take multiple inhibitors, and then give Reading almost no chance to get back in.
Yeah. 5 seconds on the Cassiopeia here. She is strong. They're going to need some plays from it if they're going to stand a chance here. Does have flash as well. Fawn comes in. Old Flash comes in. Gets a stun onto the Cinder, but the shield comes out and keeps her alive. Kha'Zix finds the kill, but the Caitlyn returns it, and they're going to kill the Nexus, and Strathclyde will take the game.
It's the Caitlyn showing up big and then showing why they picked that in the early phases. That's the first pick, and they're able to utilize it to get to this stage of the game, get to the point where they have the Energizer build, and she just took over in these fights, did so much damage. But a lot has to be said for the way that Nunu and Shogath were able to disengage so much of the pressure that the Cassiopeia and the Scion was trying to put out.
Yeah, I think they just played the team fights really well there. Obviously, did overstep a bit, but when the enemy team was trying to play into them when the Scion engaged, they played it excellently. But that has been your game 1. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back soon with our game 2, which will be UAE Monkey Cage, I believe. Catch you
We'll
in
find
a
out who
bit.
their opponents are shortly, but yeah, we'll
Yep.
see you then.
And welcome back, everyone, to the NUEL Week 5 Spring Championships. And we are about to get underway with the next game. I am Orcs, and I'm joined by my beautiful co-caster, Sin.
Hello, I'm back again. So we're going to be getting into UAE Monkey Cage up against, I believe it's Leeds University. To double check on that one. We'll find out on the opposing team shortly, but LU Gone Give It To You is what they're saying their name is. That's Loughborough. That's Loughborough University.
Gone Give. Let's get the name. Oh god, I've got to spell Loughborough. I'll just give that a quick Google just to make sure. Just to, you never want to be wrong. You know how to. Yeah, I did have it right the first time, but you just want to make sure. Bit of a tricky one.
I mean, customer spelling made the name of one of our teams here right now, UAE Monkey Cage. It's University of East Anglia, but they changed their name after the casters kept saying the name wrong. So
yeah,
forever it became known as UAE rather than UEA.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes teams love to run away with that stuff. I had a friend of mine who his name originally was CI Pizza, and he got casted one time, and the caster kept calling him Chipser, and in the end he actually changed his name to Chipser, and now he's quite a big streamer. So there's a little tidbit for you. And he uses his name like absolutely like he says that his subscribers welcome to the bag of chips and stuff like that. But like he's gone away with his name, and literally the only reason he got it was because his caster mispronounced his name. Sort of how you run away with it.
You can run away with those things, yeah. But we saw the first game here. We saw a little glimpse into 8.5 for the NUEL. We saw a little bit of Scion, not something we've seen previously in 8.3, I believe, was the last time we ended up actually playing for the NUEL. So it'll be interesting to see how the meta develops now, and if we see some more strong picks kind of come out. We see the Caitlyn was very strong in the last game. Wondering if that's going to retain that first pick status throughout our 3 games today and into the quarter and semi-finals next week, and what teams choose to prioritize individually.
Yeah, and I think it's just such a staple pick. It's the fact that it has that great range advantage in the laner phase, and then yes, it has a bit of a mid-game trough. But if you get to late game, it's so hard to deal with. I mean, the Kazakhs obviously was quite far behind, but you saw him trying to jump in on the Caitlyn. And any time he'd get CC, the traps would follow up, and just so much damage.
Yeah. That's another reason Caitlyn's so strong is there's with everybody wanting to utilize things like stopwatch, it's just so effective to drop a trap underneath somebody the moment they come out of invulnerability. You pop them in the head with that headshot for the massive amount of bonus damage, and it can just be so useful as just a tool for getting that extra damage in.
Yeah, and so much control as well. I mean, obviously the extra damage comes in from the headshot, but just the control and the CC and the peeling was great
sure
play.
You can secure those kills when somebody is likely to get away after using a stopwatch.
Yeah, particularly with a champion like a Kazakhs, it's one of those situations where the stopwatch buys extra time from to re-stealth, but not an opportunity there.
It's really annoying when you see things like it reminds me of the old Bard thing where you used to be able to Bard ult and then double zillion bomb on top of somebody. The moment they came out of the Bard ult, they'd get double bombed.
Yeah, not exactly fun to play against.
It was really interesting though, if you because it was set up that if you threw a Thresh Lantern down, they were able to click the Thresh Lantern before they got double bombed. That was the only way out of it.
Wow, what a funky interaction! But looks like we are going over to our pick and ban right now. Gonna switch over, and yep, looks like Kai'Sa is being banned out.
Well, I was asked previously if Kai'Sa is enabled today, and it is the second week of her release. She wasn't released this week, so that does mean she is available to be played. It's only in the first week that they come out that they're not able to be played. So
yeah, I think the second round of buffs has made it quite difficult to deal with.
Oh, it's AP Kai'Sa was the thing that surprised me the most. I thought it would be like Yeah, I thought it would be like an AD Kai'Sa with things like Blade of the Rune King, maybe showing up where she plays similar to a Lucian. Instead, the moment she came out, I was seeing people going for the one-shot W builds, where you chunk somebody massively with just that W.
I have seen Essence Reaver first AD carry Kaiser played by a few pros and had some success.
I have seen that too. It has been
Uh,
very impressive.
quite a bit of burst, but it won't be seen this game.
Yeah.
Has been taken off the table. We do then see 2 support bans, the Rakan being taken away, denying the Zyra Rakan lane, and then both the Thresh and the Skarner, who are a devastating duo together, but the Cat is also a bit of a Thresh specialist, so not wanting him to get his hands on that.
You're very good at those really heavy engaged supports. We've seen him play a lot of things like Leona in the past as well, so can see him fall back to a lot of other champions he's got in his pocket. But at the same time, it's taking away those big pick-based junglers and that support as well. So it's a lot
looks
harder
like
to make a pick-based composition.
looks like UAE will go for that Olaf. 3 junglers banned already, so prioritizing their own.
Interesting choice. The Olaf really strong right now in terms of the ability to get in the enemy jungler's face in those early levels. And once you start to get the Cinder Hulk plus Ninja Tabis, you become near unstoppable to a lot of other junglers. Just because they can't trade with you. You see, like the likes of like the Sejuani, they can't trade with an Olaf throwing these axes in their face over and over again at that point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't quite as well, and we are seeing the Tom Kench on this side, which is going to offer a bit of safety to any sort of squishy targets that Olaf tries to run down. And we are seeing the Caitlyn again, so big priority being put on that.
But the ability to survive is what you see instantly from this combo. So the Caitlyn's going to have her early game pressure, where she has the range advantage and can look to pressure out some opposing AD carries. We could still see the likes of a Varus come out here and be fairly safe in the bot lane, not really have to worry so much about the Caitlyn. But it's the mid-game pick potential that's completely denied. You can't go in hard on the Caitlyn because the Tahm Kench will just eat her up and walk away. So it gives her tower a lot more safety as well, where it's so much harder to get one of those big plays off in the bot lane and make that big first tower swing.
Absolutely. And then we are, as you said, seeing one of those aggressive, engaged supports coming in from the Cat. We are seeing the Alistair being picked up, which does mean you can combo, if you're good enough, the Caitlyn and the Tahm Kench. So the Tahm Kench will be unable to eat, and then we're seeing the Tristana picked up. Interesting to see with the range nerfs into a Caitlyn.
You're down to 525. I believe that's the same range as a Kalista right now. So it really shows you at level 1 how low that range is. And Tristana does have those issues now, so her early game is significantly weaker. They've given her this glaring weakness of when she is bad, when you can punish her. And that's where Caitlyn excels, so it's really interesting to see these two hyper carries duke it out, because it's going to be so much based on these early levels.
We do actually see a Braum come in, which does suggest that Tahm Kench might well be
top lane, I assume?
Top lane, or potentially jungle if they want to go really, really wild. But
I think the jungle Tahm Kench lacks a lot of proactivity until you hit level 6, so I think you're more likely to be going for it in the top lane, where you can be able to ult to make plays around that level 6 mark, but until then you still have a fair amount of lane pressure. You've still got the ability to eat somebody up, have the stuns, have that shield as well.
Does still seem like a bit of a weird blind, though. Not the sort of thing I would want to take. I mean, that's the thing. If they'd picked it and left the Braum till later, the other side wouldn't have known. You know, they wouldn't have been aware that was a top lane Tahm Kench. So maybe a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, maybe it was the reaction to the Alistair pick. I'm not 100% because Braum generally good into those melee supports, and it means that the Caitlyn Braum is going to be trying to duke it out. But with the Azir, Swain, and Orianna banned away, it's a lot of mid lane picks banned. So we have to expect that a Grumpy Pig's going to lock in his mid lane pick here for himself. Make sure he's got that one, and at least get a 5th denial pick. And one of the picks I'm seeing interesting here, the Swain banned away, after Swain's been so buffed over and over again, to the point where he's been relevant if you've seen it in the NALCS. People like Huni picking him up to great success. And he can be so devastating.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a force. I think since those buffs, there's so much zone control and pressure. But we do see the Corki come out.
Safe blind pick.
Yeah, very safe sort of blind pick. And then I'll be interested to see if this Darius does get locked in, because obviously Darius does excel into melee matchups. To get a couple of buffs in the last few patches, and I think that's the thing, is Tahm Kench wants to get close to you, but Darius loves them. So it's going to be a bit of a difficult one.
I think you almost have to put Tahm Kench in the jungle here, because this is awful to play against if you're up against a Darius, because Darius can so effectively outtrade other melee champions. And Darius, with all the buffs he's been given, we've seen him show up in an ALCS as well. I remember Someday playing him fairly recently, and having great success with him as well. It's a pick that Karma Envy has played a lot of before, and now it has been buffed, picking it up again. So there's definitely jungle Tahm Kench.
Yeah, it looks like
interesting to see how it can be a champion that's so inactive in the early game, yet still has the ability to beat a jungler in the meta. We'll see how successful it can be.
I think it's one of those things. If you get the jump on Olaf pre 6, obviously, and you manage to eat him, you're going to be in such a good position.
I think it's just, yeah, I think it might just be the fact that Olaf can't really get in your face and invade you because you have that ability to just eat him up and buy time
and
for your laner to collapse.
Shield yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a unique one though, and this is what I like to see. I like to see these pocket picks come out, throw something different at them, bit of a curveball, and it's gonna be up to the side of UAE to see how they react to this, how they sort of adapt against Tahm Kench, because obviously Olaf isn't going to be looking necessarily to gank to counter jungle with Tahm Kench. Maybe has to look for more ganks. But then again, if you try and gank a lane and then suddenly Tahm Kench eats the laner and saves them, not going to be not going to be the best situation for you.
One of the things I find really interesting with this is you can just see a 2v2 bot lane occurring, and then even without the package available, you can have Tahm Kench ult in with a Corki in his mouth into the lane to be able to make a collapse happen. And then suddenly there's 4 men bot lane out of nowhere.
Yeah, pretty excessively crazy plays, but that's the sort of thing I want to see. And that's the thing. There is going to be a lot of rotation available from this side of from the side of Loughborough University. LU going to give it to you because obviously have the rotational power of Tahm Kench. They have the Corki package when they get to that point. So looking to see them make some mid-game plays around there. But then on the other side, we do have the Zillion speed buffs. Obviously great to get to other areas of the map.
And it's going to be great to give to Olaf to get on top of the backline. Yeah. And
as the Alistair as well.
Yeah, like, but giving Olaf the ultimate and the ability to hard dive the backline, he can sit on top of Caitlyn, not caring how much damage he's taking. And with that ultimate on top of him, you get that dilemma. Do I kill him just to stop him from hitting me? Or do I leave the buff on him, allow him to hit me, and then try and kill him afterwards? So it becomes a really awkward situation where he can put a lot of damage down onto your backline.
Yeah, it does seem like a bit of an adaptation of something we have seen in the Pro League, is that the Karma mid pick coming out, particularly to facilitate these Predator junglers. And yes, obviously the Zillion isn't a Karma, but it works in a similar way. You know, it's a supportive mid laner, has a lot of shoving power, and gives speed buffs to these melee champions who want to go fast. So interesting to see that they've sort of gone for this slightly different sort of play, but it's going to really facilitate not just the Olaf, but the Alistair can benefit speed, and the Darius as well, because I think that's one of his difficulties is being kited. But in this situation with the extra speed, going to have a good time.
It's really interesting to see like this composition here from UEA because I think it works so well with the Zillion and the ability to set up the plays from Darius and Olaf. The only thing it's missing is really a true tank, and Alistair is going to be going for that utility support role where you're going to be having to build together the scraps of what you can of tanky items. Olaf, we know, goes for the more movement speed base, so building things like a Righteous Glory, which is a fairly cheap item that offers some tanky stats, but not really getting to the full tank that he wants to be. And Darius, we know, is a bruiser. So when you've got the big crit dealers of Caitlyn and Corki, once you get to those later stages, who's really going to be tanking that up?
Yeah, I completely agree, especially when they get the sort of pen items. I mean, Corki doesn't necessarily even need to optimize. You need to itemize into a pen item. It's just so much damage. Caitlyn obviously will pick up the last whisper. And the thing is, on the other side, we have that Tahm Kench, who is such a powerful true tank. We have the Braum, who, although it isn't inherently tanky on his own, his shield obviously buys him a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then we have
the effective shields from the Urgot make him that much more tanky as well, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like it's very much on the side of UAE. I mean, yes, the Tristana is going to be relevant late game, but I feel like they need to sort of get ahead in the mid game because that's when their comp's really going to excel. They still can win in the late game. It's not going to be a pure out scaling issue, but they're going to be in a situation where they have one true hyper carry against two in the Corki and the Corki and the Caitlyn. It's going to be a bit difficult.
You can really see a snowball getting rolling here for UEA if it starts to happen, because with the Zillion stopping members from being picked off and the ability to speed up these members to help enable the snowball further, it would just be so interesting to be able to have this composition go forward and not really leak advantages and like, oh no, the AD carries out of position. Oh no, the top laner got caught out because of the Zilean being able to mitigate that and stem that bleeding.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are actually seeing the complete footwork come out from Tom Kench. That was something I was interested to see. It does make sense, gives that extra attack speed, bit of extra clear and power, similar to what we see from Sejuani.
Yeah, exactly. Sejuani does the same thing to get the extra auto attack to proc up passive on an E. So Tom Kench is going to be looking to do the same to proc his passive, be able to eat somebody up or stun them with a Q.
And we'll be jumping in game. And we actually have everyone in the right order this time, which is very fortunate.
Some people are more used to being streamed than others by the looks of it, but it's going to be, UEA Monkey Cage. We've seen them play a fair amount as well. This team did finish second, I believe, last split.
Oh, looks like the Zilean instantly has to flash, gets caught out by the invade, and does get away, but I mean, being your flash at less than a minute, not the greatest situation to be in.
Definitely not, but having been this early, it means that it's going to be up that much sooner, and it's going to be a lot harder for Tom Kench to punish that flash being down this early in the game, especially for a Corki to punish the flash being down.
Yeah,
He's
I feel like
the champion that's going to be 1v1ing you, bursting you down.
Yeah, I feel like Corki Tom Kench isn't exactly the best to punish flashless mid laner, especially when mid lane is such a short lane. You'd have to really push up for the Tom Kench to be able to get behind you.
We're not seeing him with Lee Sin or Lee Sin or Kha'Zix up against this.
Yeah,
it's a lot harder to be able to punish, and that means that although he did burn the flash, it's most likely to go unpunished.
Yeah, hey, here's the bright side. Because his flash is down, he's not going to be able to fat finger it, so, you know. Pays off in that regard. Always a silver lining.
300 IQ plays.
Yeah.
You gotta flash in base every game at level 1, just to make sure you don't fat finger it by accident.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Both junglers starting on the same side of the map as in the bot side, but starting with the opposite buffs, and they will just move up. Olaf on his Raptors, Tom Kench on his Wolves.
Seeing double minion dematerializer as well, one from the cat and one from Nerve. You can see it from the cat when Caitlyn has been winning this matchup so much more handily in recent patches. To be able to just get rid of that cannon minion, help push the wave a little bit easier, and mitigate the time in which Caitlyn can be trading with you, because the wave is gone at the same time.
I think as well, something that's important to Zilean is his bombs have a very sort of precise amount of damage. It's quite unique with Zilean, but there's certain times when you'll throw a bomb down and it will reduce the casters to just above, it'll just avoid killing them. And I think actually minion dematerializer, it's not just the fact it gives you the extra shoving power, but it increases your damage to minions, and it gives them such powerful wave clear because you'll be able to kill the back wave with one bomb, they'll be able to kill the front wave with 2 bombs. It does just sort of help his wave clear a lot.
Very similar to Ari.
Is coming top in though, coming here top though. Darius does get the 3 stacks. Q lands for the stun, auto, then the eat, and he will get taken out by the Tom Kench. Great gank here coming on this immobile top laner.
Hello? Tom Kench jungle works? Okay, I know what I'm doing in solo queue.
Yeah, I think it just worked great. I mean, he clearly knew exactly how to do it. I think the mistake that Darius made was not flashing the initial Q. I think once he got the slow onto him, that was pretty much it for him.
So that was really well played by him to get that first blood, able to get the stun off and nom him to be able to pull him back, and he's instantly had to TP back to lane as well, so no flash, no TP here from Karma Envy. Death by Lollipops is going to have a much easier time. It's already the ranged versus melee matchup, and now with this, it's only going to get easier.
It's such an unfortunate situation for Darius because obviously very immobile top laner, but we are seeing aggression from the side of UAE, but it's getting switched round up to the top lane. Looks like Lolman's going to come in here and full stacks in the Darius onto the Sergot. He's trying to turn it around but doesn't manage to. We are going back to the fight bot lane. Looks like UEA does come out ahead.
Oh!
Flash W goes to the wrong target, but the Pulverize catches both. Stun gets stacked up but doesn't find a target. Heal will be burned and flash from the side off Loughborough.
But they do the flash headbutt to knock him out of the dash back to Caitlyn.
Yeah, I think he was trying to knock him back but didn't manage it. But looks like Tom Kench is going to go aggressive here. Pops the grey health. Give him some more time, but this is going to run out, and perfectly timed E from Lolman07 to finish him off. Ergot is turned up though. Bit of healing comes in from Darius, but he's on such low HP, and he will get finished off. What a bloodthirsty game already.
definitely really focused around this top side, though, as we can see 0, 2, and 2, and then the 2 kills going over to Lolman. Seemed like he donated both of them, didn't really want to take the last hit, so Lolman, the challenger jungler, looking to take that one for himself. And you can imagine him just in the comms like, no, I want it, no. Give
Yeah,
it
this
to
is
me."
mine. Give it. I've got a challenger border. I'm getting the kills. I mean, obviously, just give benefits. Olaf very early be able to pick up his blue smite, and the boots, which obviously gives him access to Predator. So his ganking power is going to be pretty strong here. I feel like that's one of the things. Tom Kench without his flash might struggle a bit on ganking unless someone's really
He seems
over.
like a jungler that would go Predator, to be honest, but you can definitely understand why he'd go for the attack speed to be able to land those couple of extra auto attacks and get the passive off.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think he's going to be happy farming. Obviously, does a ton of damage to camps with his Devour, which does percentage HP. Looks like Olaf's waiting in the bot lane, looking for a counter gank, and they are going to challenge this Tom Kench. He has actually popped the Predator, and the smite comes down. This is a flashless Tom Kench. First bomb comes, second, there's the stun. They don't kill him before the grey health, but they'll follow the blast cone, and Lolman 07 will finish off Gecko. And
So
he's been
really starting
punished.
to punish him, yeah. It's
Yeah.
very well done on the collapse, using the Predator to get that bonus movement speed. It's so effective, and people really underestimate how long the Predator lasts for. You can activate it in base and get to the center of mid lane. It's really impressive, the range you can get off of it.
Yeah, and
So
I think that's the
able
thing
to
is,
just chase him down for as long as it takes.
yeah, now his flash is down, especially when the Zillion came to follow up. Really difficult to get out of that situation, because not only does the Zillion offer the CC, but can slow you, can speed up the Olaf. Are seeing some aggression from the Darius here, gets full stacks, but isn't able to do more. And that's the threat. If you are in range of that Darius and he stacks up his full bleed, obviously gets that extra AD, but it's so difficult to trade with him out of that. And there's the threat of his ult doing so much damage.
He is up against an Urgot, though, and one of the things you have to be thinking about potentially is picking up a Bramble Vest, because when you activate that Purge, just the Bramble Vest for every single individual auto attack, and it counts as 3 auto attacks a second on it.
Ouch.
So
Yeah, not fun time for the
yeah,
Urgot.
definitely not a fun time, and it can really end up being a lot of damage back in your face.
Oh, Lawman has found the Tom Kench though. Stacks can get built up, pops his ult so he can't be eaten. That's a good trade for the side of Gecko. Sort of caught Lawman unaware there and forces the ult out of him for essentially nothing on the side of Fluffera.
He didn't have his flash available, so he wasn't even able to burn that when worst came to worst, but just sitting in the brush carefully, and Gecko manages to bait him out, catch him, and even level 5 versus level 6 gets the ult, but still 3-0, still comfortable position here.
Yeah, and I think that's the
Side of
thing is,
Lawman.
Lawman still hadn't recalled from the last encounters, so sitting on a lot of gold here, almost 1,200. Going to be able to finish off his Cinder Hulk when he does get it back, so although he has that extra gold on him, wasn't able to make use of it in that sort of counter.
But overall, we can see from the CS leads that have managed to be accrued by the side of Loughborough, that sitting at small gold lead, so able to mitigate the kill disadvantage and the disadvantage that Gecko currently has. But we talked about the potential around the mid game of this composition when you start to get to like rank 2 of Zillion Ultimate, basically the rank 2s of Ultimates on most of these champions, where you can really start to be able to make these plays go hard in onto the back line and try and remove a Caitlyn before she even gets to be relevant in the fight.
Yeah, I think as well when the Zillion Bomb is maxed, really going to be putting out a lot of damage there. Obviously Zillion only really has 1 damage in spell, but during the mid game puts out a hell of a lot, especially if you can get a double bomb onto someone the CC as well. And then later in the game it does sort of just fill that supportive role. Doesn't have too much damage output.
Definitely we're going to be looking for in the late game is just Zillion transitioning into being more of that utility, where it plays similar to a Bard. It's the guy just landing that couple man stun to set up the play for his team, and then being able to revive everybody is the main utility he provides after that.
And the game has slowed down a bit. We saw so much aggression, so much trading in the early game. It looks like both teams sort of happy just to chill out for a bit. Both flashes coming up on the junglers, and it's be interesting to see how they make plays with those.
Yeah, it's got to look here at the side of Loughborough and think about what is the aim of this composition, and it's that late game fantasy where you've got the double hyper carry and the Tom Kench to be able to keep them alive with this big front line. of the Tahm Kench, Braum, and the Urgot as well. So there's definitely a lot of damage available should they get to that point. And it's going to be a lot more than just, okay, we're going to stop them from picking off one member with a Zillion ultimate. There's a lot of threat here from Loughborough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing, is that so much sustained damage. Like the Urgot, when he pops his Purge, pumps out so much damage. The Caitlyn going to be throwing headshots at you, and the Corki, obviously. I mean, yes, they'll be able to revive one target, but they'll just be able to keep cutting through them. And looks like we're actually going to get Tahm Kench ult here come up top. Flash is available on the Darius, and the ult comes down for the slow. Flashes from everyone to try and catch up, but Olaf's here to disengage. TP comes in from Zillion, and the slow comes down on the Gecko. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to escape here. Pops the Grey Health to buy some time, but the stun comes down, and he does get taken out by the Darius. Lawman doesn't follow the Urgot on the tower, but great turnaround, and a solid TP from Nerve to facilitate that play. Arsenal play bot though on top of this. Combo comes in, but it looks like the Triss going to get locked up. Ult comes down for the Braum and the headshot from the trap, and they will turn this around.
That's going to be the kill in the bot lane to try and make up for these plays happening in the top lane. But it's, the cat's still going low. The ultimate's about to run out. Maybe you can look at seeing the ace in the hole try and finish him off if he's not too careful.
Does just have enough right now. Oh, and there's no mana on the Caitlyn.
Yeah, Caitlyn using the Piltover Peacemaker instead to just clear the wave and back off.
I think just a bit too aggressive for my game at the party on this Triss.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue. If you
don't really want to be
in,
jumping in
yeah.
when there's a Braum wall right there.
And I think the problem is, yeah, your trading pattern from Triss comes from stacking your bomb up. But the whole time you're stacking your bomb, there's a Braum blocking every auto, so you're not really able to get too.
It's definitely, yeah, you don't want to be jumping in on a Braum whatsoever because you can't hit the AD carry. It's just so easy to block it when you're essentially in melee range of the Braum.
I think
it starts to get the stacks on you from the passive to be able to stun you that much quicker as well.
I think something I have seen is that Triss will jump past the Braum
and then ult him away.
I mean, potentially, or just like get on the other side of the shield, like once he's used his shield. But I think the issue was the Triss didn't jump far enough, and also didn't jump past. As again, jumps in here, but the Olaf is there to follow up.
Range, yeah.
We'll get a good combo, but the Tahm Kench is there to save them off. And in the end, Lawman actually burns his ult there.
That's the risk for my came to party though. It's we can understand he was going in for the play, but he just jumps into melee range of a Braum. And
yeah.
Imagine Tahm Kench is sitting right there next to them. That's him dead instantly because he gets stunned, he gets locked up. You gotta be careful with these plays, and it's the old thing. Whenever you're playing Crystal, you just gotta unbind your W key.
Yeah.
Just unbind it.
Looks like Corki and Zillion were trying to find a chance to move down, but they both zoned each other off, so we'll just turn a mid lane. Look for the mid shove. And Caitlyn gonna look for a reset.
Interesting to see the Olaf going for the Lucidity boots this early. Going to be looking to try and get that extra cooldown reduction to be able to maximize the ability to chase down with those Qs. Chaining them together.
Does also shorten the cooldown of Flash and Smite, I believe.
Yep. Yeah,
so
cooldown of Smite. Get a little bit easier time in the jungle. A little bit easier time so you can use a Smite in a fight and not have to worry about giving up an objective because you've got it back that little bit sooner.
Yeah, and we have seen the importance of flashes on these junglers. As soon as Gecko came top both times, instantly wants to burn his flash, and I think the extra cooldown for Lawman, I mean, it still has his flash up now, but when he does use it, the extra cooldown might be able to help him in future fights.
Yeah, with the way he's been playing rather in the face outside of Loughborough, it would make sense for him to want to go for the more bloodthirsty choice. And Nerve actually doing rather well to hold the mid lane here. Even though he's down 20 CS, he's still able to pressure out the Corki quite effectively.
Yeah, and I think that's the power of the Zillion wave clear, as well as the minion. I mean, the minion dematerializer is only going to be an extra few percentage of damage, but can make a difference.
Yeah.
If that's what separates you from getting every minion low HP and killing every minion, can be quite significant.
Yeah, it's like you were saying before, with just that little bit of extra damage can secure the minion. It's very similar to like Ari around level 9 mark when you start to get the Q being able to one-shot the range of the minions. If you use minion dematerializer, you can get it to the one-shot the melee minions at level 12 as well, so it can be very useful.
Look at that boom. I think one of the things as well to mention, this is going back to a different point, but the because I was thinking that Ninja Tabi would obviously be very effective with the Olaf against this Corki and this Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're very auto attack based. But I feel like this is him sort of saying, look, we know we need to win this mid game. I need to be able to run people down and make plays. And I think Rollman's
just rushing Randuin's here.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be a good shout, especially since, I mean, Olaf isn't obviously crit. I mean, not Olaf, sorry. Urgot isn't obviously crit based, but both Caitlyn and Corki very much are, and the armor's not going to hurt against the Urgot as well.
And it's the run-in and the slowdown effectiveness from the active as well. It just synergizes well in terms of being able to run in and allow his team to follow up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like he is going to recall. Nerve will just teleport mid. Does have that tier. I forgot what the item's called up when you upgrade it. Archangel staff. Archangel staff stacking up nicely.
Seraph's Embrace.
Yep. Looks like there is quite a bit of pressure coming down towards UEA's bot lane. They are shoved in and the tower's taking a lot of damage. And this is the power of that Caitlyn. Does have that range advantage.
For now,
And
at least.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things is that although Caitlyn does struggle a bit in the mid game, that's in regards to team fights, just lack a bit of DPS. But if you're still stuck in the laning phase, I mean, she's fine with that. She's gonna keep shoving the wave in, gonna keep trying to headshot you, draw off. I mean, she's fine in this situation, and it's a sort of surprising thing. With 50 minutes in, and we haven't seen a single tower be taken.
It's yeah, definitely a lot slower than the previous game. I think there's a third as many kills as the last game we were casting, so definitely a lot more calculated, I think, we'll choose the word to use this time around.
Well, some bits were calculated, some bits like melee range Tristana, maybe not so much. Well, that's so OP that he got minigun in the ward there.
Yeah,
Blows away that pink in not even a second.
And then you compare it to Graves trying to take a pink ward.
Oh my, that tilts. Oh, and just it doesn't get that one. Darius steps in the way to deny it.
Yeah, the purge against wards can be so useful as Urgot. You just get so much vision control. And, I mean, I'm the kind of guy who will jungle anything, so I've jungled Urgot, and it is very useful for being able to just get full vision control of everything.
I might play support I got now, you know. If you're killing wards that quickly, it's like, you know, when you have those ward fights and you and the enemy support trying to kill them, I can just clear you, you know, beautiful. There's some tips from orcs. Urgot support, best for vision control.
That used to be essentially what you did with Rek'Sai as well, didn't it? Because you get the auto Q and show you can get all three autos off to kill a ward before it goes invisible.
Oh, we are seeing a TP from Darius come in. Looks like he's going to try and grab up the Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench does have flash available, but isn't going to use it. Slows come down, and he does get taken down, but the ult comes back onto Darius, but he was ulted by Zilean. Saves him from the almost certain death. Darius tries to get on top of the Urgot, but he flashes away. Slow comes down on the Corki. He will flash as well. And looks like Side of Loughborough are going to escape reeling here, having lost their jungler.
And that's another strength we see of the Zilean ultimate. I was waiting to bring this one up, but the effectiveness to shut down the ultimate from Urgot, you have to do it preemptively though, because the moment he reactivates that ultimate, you do become untargetable. But there he goes. Double
bombs come down and execute the Urgot. I mean, I guess not only did the Zilean stop the execution from the Urgot, but he turns around on him. Great bombs and great play from Nerve here.
It's definitely, yeah. It's we've seen him play this champion before, but he's really taken over in this mid game. Sitting 2-0-2, having that Seraph's Embrace completed as well to give himself the extra safety. And,
I think that's the thing, because that's the risk as a Zilean. Is that if you ult someone else or you save your ult for someone else, you risk being punished yourself. But with the Seraph's Embrace, and he's now investing into a Haunting Guise, he's gonna have more HP, gonna be a lot safer, gonna be harder to punish, while also being able to save his teammates. Looks like Olaf is actually gonna go for the Righteous Glory, wants that extra movement speed and gap closing.
It wants the ability to chase somebody down. Maybe we could see a Randuin's later on. There is the ability to shut down that crit, and that would be very helpful to his kit. But for now, it's just going to be that extra movement speed to chase somebody down, make sure he can get on top of the backline that a little bit easier. And he gets the slow from that anyway, so it might mean that he just foregoes it completely. But one of the things I want to look at now is that we see both AD carries here, and Caitlyn choosing to go for the Berserker Greaves earlier on, just trying to get that extra movement speed, get a couple of extra auto attacks in because of that. On the other side, instantly the Zeal coming out from Tristana, so likely to hit that rapid fire / static shiv first Zeal item spike earlier, but it's interesting just to see the different priorities of the AD carries and what the Caitlyn chooses as more necessary to her kit in the Berserker Greaves rather than the Tristana.
Yeah, I think the extra movement speed helps when you want to sort of gap close. Looks like UEA are going to try and pressure this bot lane tower, but they might get punished here. Oh, the flip comes in from the Urgot, and they are tanking the tower. Tom Kench is going to look for the E, finds it, and the ult from Urgot comes down. Great CC from the two Loughborough students, and they managed to lock down that Darius and execute him, essentially. Great play, punished there, but a bit of an overextension from the side of UEA.
Yeah, we're trying to get the tower, didn't respect the collapse from Gecko, and that's going to mean the kill going over. And now this means that they're not getting any respite for all the pressure they're losing in this top side. That was really the trade-off, and now they're getting nothing, they're losing on all fronts.
And that's something to note as well, is there was that great play earlier from UEA, where they managed to turn around that mid-fight, but they ended up losing the bot tower in return. So they're still behind on gold, they're now losing the Ocean Dragon, they're being pressured top lane. Despite them making these good plays, they're falling behind. But it looks like Bobman's going to turn up and try and turn this around. Combo comes in from the cat, and they're going to try to lock down this Caitlyn. The Olaf's on top of it, and she's just going to get blown up. It's like Nyx will be able to get out. And I think Xylar accepted the fate and didn't burn any summoners there.
The thing is, it doesn't really help when all your kills are on a full tank Olaf, who isn't really running away with the game at this point. He's not going into the enemy jungle and stopping Gecko from having any impact. He's just kind of 303, yeah, he's great when he turns up. He's just sitting in his jungle a majority of the time, so the gold advantage they have is not being utilized.
Yep, but he will turn up here, the enemy Tom Kench, and they'll get CC down on the cat without ult. He's an easy target. No ult on the Olaf as well. He's going to CC them once again.
Oh,
Thrown
so
out of the Tom Kench's mouth into the Urgot ult and just murdered. Great play from the side of Loughborough, and it seems like they know how the champions interact with each other. It's not just that they're playing well; they're using their kits they're using their kits so effectively together. Tom Kench came in there, punished with his ult with the global range, and they managed to turn that around so well. And they're now going to get rewarded with another tower. They do lose their bot lane tower, but they get some kills top lane as well, and I'm sure they're happy with that trade.
And so with really good play from Loughborough, as you can see them, like you were saying, utilizing those abilities in unison together. They, Tom Kench eating somebody up and then spitting them out on just low enough HP for the Urgot ultimate to be able to activate as well. And you can see the way they're laying it as well. They're using the first Urgot ultimate, first half of it, then chunking them, then using the second half of it to ensure there is zero chance for them to be saved. And you can imagine that Urgot is sitting there spamming that R key, waiting for Tom Kench to come out. So there's no chance for even Zillion to be able to save him.
I think it's such a difficult situation because, I mean, it was a great play from the side of UEA to sort of go aggressive and get that kill on the Caitlyn. But this is a problem if you don't have that Alastral, if you don't have that Olaf ult, they are extremely vulnerable to the CC and the damage from the side of Loughborough. And I think they need to respect that. They have to play around these cooldowns.
And we know the longer the game goes, the closer we get to the dream for the Corki plus Caitlyn and being this double late game hyper carry setup with the huge front lane. And it's without the front lane, you can really say that it does look like the side of UEA Neutral gets outscaled at least a little bit, and it's going to lead to having some real issues in terms of being able to take these fights when you've got nobody to be able to take the crits, you've got nobody to be able to contest both Corki and Caitlyn simultaneously.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting build coming out from the Zillion. Obviously, we saw the changes with Leandri's Torment, and offers good tank killing, deal 2% more damage each second in combat with champions. But I feel like Zillion's not the best he's not sort of a sustained damage champion. I mean, I guess the understanding is you go in combat once you throw a bomb, it's going to do more damage over time. But I feel like a Ludens would offer a bit more pop, a bit more burst on these squishier members.
It's I can definitely understand that, but you can see the extra burn after you land one of these bombs can be so useful as well. And it's just being making sure you get the kills when somebody's trying to sneak away on that low HP. I can understand, however, that the burst is really lacking when you go for this, so you need that little bit more upfront damage rather than the delayed damage, and the likelihood of picking up something along the lines of even the Morellonomicon would have been more useful.
Yeah, and I feel like the morale would have been a great pick, but also something with a bit more CDR. I mean, yes, he has 10% from the Seraphs.
It's 20% from Seraphs, yeah.
Oh, is it 20% from Seraphs?
Yeah, you get 10% from the
oh yeah,
granted
10%
from the Lost Chapter.
Yeah, very true. Sorry, yeah, gets the 20% from the Seraphs, but yeah, that's my bad not knowing the new updates. But it's going to be a... Oh, but we are seeing a fight here. I'm going to get interrupted. Tom Kench does keep the Corki, but he's going to be slow himself. CZ comes down from the cat. Looks like the focus is a bit split there. And they're not going to take out the Tom Kench, who pops the great health. This is getting turned around. Tristana goes down. Cat is trying to run away, but he's extremely low. Oh, keeping him alive for now, but it's run out and he'll die too. Looks like Xylo's going to clean up the Darius as well, and it's just 3 for 0 from the side of Loughborough.
Corki was just allowed to free hit for the entirety of that fight. There was no chance throughout the entirety of that for I came to party to get out. The moment he stepped up, he took a huge crit to the face and lost about half his HP.
Yeah, and Lolman gets punished
so quickly.
Lolman gets punished by the Tom Kench up as well, chased down, and only Zillion to contest, and looks like this will be Baron for the side of Loughborough.
It's definitely a pretty free Baron as well in Loughborough. We said they had the gold advantage already, now they have more of a significant gold advantage. They have the double Energizer Caitlyn, and with Corki having picked up a lot of gold for himself there as well, potentially looking seeing this crit.
Yeah, we'll be able to pick up you'll be able to pick up a Zeal, not much more than that, but still a big pickup, and increases the crit chance, doubles it to 40%.
And he's got the package, so they can look to potentially set up a play with this as well. And now they've got Baron, they can hard force even harder to be able to set up a play with this. But what you can also utilize it with is, because you've got the teleport Corki, shove him in a side lane, you can have him collapse so quickly without a combat movement speed. The Triforce is there to be able to chunk towers. You can have him as that side lane threat. And you can either TP package or just roam with the out of combat movement speed and use the package to be able to get back into the mid lane. And with the Baron buff, that's so much more effective.
I think that's the thing, is that as well, you want the Zillion to be with the rest of your team to offer that wave clear and the utility, but if the Corki's split, and you need to send the Zillion to answer that.
You need to at least send somebody to answer that, and you could even see just Lolman going up there by himself, and if you have that, then you lose the ability to contest things like the Ocean Dragon, which just went down here.
Yeah, and Ocean Dragon, not the best for scaling late in the game, but in these siege situations, definitely useful, able to heal you back up. And the thing is that this Corki at level 16, level 3 on his ult rockets, going to be putting a lot of poke, and you can see Nerve on about 75% HP did take a big one earlier. If he lands a couple more on those, probably going to have to recall, give up a lot of pressure.
Maybe another Ocean Dragon coming up shortly after this, but having 4 dragons to be able to set up for the Elder can't be scuffed at, even if they are the Ocean Dragons. It's just so much damage you can do with the extra true damage burn and the sustain out of a fight. It's effectively a free war box for everyone.
Absolutely. Oh, good stun comes on to Caitlyn, but the Tom Kench is going to offer the safety, and the mid tower will fall down.
And now this look to back off and set up waves in other lanes. We can see a huge wave stacking up in both top and bot. So they need to send members to either deal with them or utilize them effectively.
Yeah, it looks like Caitlyn will pick up the red, and Trist will get it in return. Got to be a bit careful on the side of Loughborough here. Going aggressive in the enemy jungle when Caitlyn isn't there. Looks like UEA is just going to back off and give them some space. I came to party though, trying to trade the Corki and not succeeding at all. 3 levels down, going to struggle here. And the cat has now been found out as well. Flashes away from the Urgot ult. So low, Caitlyn ace in the hole, doesn't find the target. Yeah, they lose the target, lose the pressure, the bot lane has to recall. It's getting worse and worse for the side of UEA.
And look at this huge wave they've got stacked up in the top lane as well. They can send somebody up there now who to go and catch that wave, and even if they don't get this tower there, huge amount of pressure in that tier 2 on the top side. Oh,
Root comes down on the Darius. Great combo from the cat though. A lot of AoD damage coming in. I came to party, trying to get the damage in, but the rest of Loughborough are backing off, and they will escape. And this is the problem with Double Ocean. They just need a bit of time, and they're going to be able to regen back up. And you can see already Tom Kench with the Warmogs gaining so much HP. Everyone else is a bit more of a slow trickle.
But they all are getting more healthy very quickly. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the wave's going to be utilized on the top side, but it doesn't matter when you can get this in hit for free. And they're going to be able to back off, knowing that they've broken open the base, and they have that pressure available to take over the map and start pushing Vision deeper and deeper, and denying resources from the side of UAE Monkey Cage.
Absolutely. Trist will get to pick up the rest of that wave in the end. But it's one of those situations where because all the waves are pushing up, it's a free situation for Luff to back off. UEA has to deal with these waves, has to push them up, and then start to establish Vision. As you can see, the cat is trying to now. But there's so much on the back foot. 6k gold behind. And you can see Corky has now finished his rapid fire cannon. Also picked up a brawler's glove. So going to be sitting at 60% crit now. And he saw how difficult it was have you seen the Tristana's items?
Oh, that's double shiv.
As I was saying, how difficult it would be for the Tristana to trade with the Corky, but I mean, if you have double shiv, it's going to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, that's really going to help him clear waves.
That's a bit of a fumblerooski right there. Bit of an interesting one. I mean, the thing is, rapid fire cannon's so important because not only the extra range, but it makes your energize stack up 25% quicker. And I don't know what to say. This is an interesting one. Bit of an unlucky one from I Came in a Party.
But it also means when you get the rapid fire cannon, the energized attacks are active on towers as well, so lose any siege potential. Not really the thing that's going to be that useful for I Came to Party right here, but
I wonder if he's
it's
noticed.
Really active for Xylo right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost entirely certain this is a mistake, accidental click.
Yeah.
It could be a situation where he's noticed, but he doesn't have enough gold to change the mistake because 2 shivs is better than having like a shiv and a zeal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is when you're this far behind already and something like that happens. I mean, all I can say is tilt, but that is an unfortunate one.
He just effectively lost 1,000 gold. I think is the best way to describe that.
Yeah. They will have a lot of wave clear though, and the Baron isn't up for Loughborough. They're trying to clear these waves, but the problem is these 280 carries cut through the tower, and the Urgot's just able to tank it up. Double Ocean means he's going to regen.
Because Darius has to hold the wave in the bottom side.
Yeah, absolutely. Darius has picked up the randoms now, so going to be a bit tankier, but it doesn't matter if he's not there for the team fights.
It's really not any team fights happening. They need to pull off and engage. They need to go in for this near last stand, as there's currently over 6k down. And, they're just constantly bleeding gold. Only the outer tier 2 and mid lane remains. They've got a wave stacking up there. They can look to recall and potentially set that one up as well. And then there's just nothing on the map for really the side of UAE to contest left.
Yeah, they will start to clear out this vision, but with Baron up in 20 seconds. Oh, double bomb comes in to stun the Corky. Looks like Caitlyn's going to net over the wall. Oh, but a TP comes in from Urgot.
And he does choose to complete it.
I guess he just wants to get back. He isn't really under much pressure being engaged on. He is so tanky right now.
Yeah, having the Frozen Mallet, the Black Cleaver, and the Randuin's all completed. Definitely a large amount of health he's got available to himself, and the percentage health shield you get on your W only adding to that. As now they have to look into taking back the river vision here.
Yeah, I think this sort of thing you want to do is you want to throw a few walls down that aren't going to get cleared. But it looks like Palm Kench is going to try and get in, but he is alone. Very tanky though. TP does actually get cancelled for Darius. It looks like UEA is just going to try and back off. Olaf trying to sidestep, flashes over, but the ult's already been used. Package comes down, and the ult just manages to get proc. The cat's in the middle, gets a knock up in the Urgot, but he's so tanky. No one's really able to follow up. And Darius is now here. But Loughborough just going to back off and head towards that Baron. A low HP lol man isn't going to be able to contest right now. Oh, he hasn't actually recalled yet. He looks like he's going to want to contest this and look for a smite. But without an ult, and with Caitlyn traps to walk through, going to be very... Oh my god, the damage on that Baron.
That's absolutely insane. With only one Mountain Dragon on top of the double crits and Urgot as well, it's just shredded to pieces.
And it looks like
they're
they
able
will
to pick up that final Ocean Drake to be able to spawn the Elder.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, Oceans are one of those Drakes that they're not the best in the late game, but they get better the more you have. Because
Yeah.
once you have 3, it's such a large amount of healing. If you leave combat, like you said, it's like a war mobs. It's going to be so hard to siege against this comp because one of the assets that UEA has is this poke and this Zillion bombs. If you land them onto a good target, it does chunk quite a fair amount. It's completely irrelevant when all they have to do is leave the fight for a wave, and you know they're going to be healed up again.
It's so strange when you think about it as such a great tool as both for poke and anti-poke, because you're able to poke people out with using mana more and more often. You can get the mana regen from it and be able to retain that, but also the ability, as you said, to come back from being poked out.
Absolutely. I mean, good zone and control from Nerve to contest that pink, but it's just going to get cleared right away, and this is sort of a losing battle to contest the vision.
As,
Looks
you can
like
see the big waves being set up and top and bot right now. They just want to be able to take that open inhib as it has respawned, so they need to be able to take that one. Inhib's only down for 5 minutes at a time. So trying to make sure they give themselves another 5 minutes of free pressure where somebody has to respond to super minions.
Yeah, and I think Loughborough just need to not take this too fast. They have the Baron waves, they have the rapid fire procs.
And so does our game to party finally.
Yes, he has switched out his build. So he does have the correct Shiv rapid fire in the end, but that is set him so far behind. If you look, I mean, obviously there's a gold lead for Xylar, but he is now working on his last item, and because I came to party, he's set himself back so far. I mean, he could have picked up a last whisper if he hadn't made that mistake. He could be doing a significant more damage to these tanks, because it just feels
Really
like
painful, yeah.
Yeah, Tom Kench and Ergot are just brushing off his damage right now. Both of them got Randuins, both of them got Ninja Tabi. Not fun. This 3-item Tristana.
It's yeah, it's not really like the old Titanic and Ravenous we used to be able to switch them out on the fly, but you tried to use them that way. As you see the cat coming in, though.
Yeah, does get a stun onto the Ergot. More CC's gonna come down, and they're just gonna put all their damage into him. Yes, he's tanky, but not that tanky. Next target's onto this Tom Kench. Darius is trying to get more stacks, and he gets another ult in on him. Whole stacks on the Braum, who's gonna flash to buy some space. And Olaf will get res, but that's a great winning team fight for the side of UE, and this Darius pick is finally doing work for them. He gets the dunk onto the Ergot, he gets it onto the Tom Kench, and yes, they're tanky, but not against 5 members of the enemy team.
And he's able to get the res onto Lolman at the same time to keep the pressure up and have him go hard into the backline. They lose that mid lane tier too, but again, we see another play where it's a team being able to negate most of the effectiveness of a Baron buff.
That's, yeah, absolutely. They're buying time, which is what they need to do. I mean, I think in any situation, losing 1 inhibitor and 1 tower, that's pretty good going considering you're 7k goal behind and the enemy team has a Baron. And it might buy the time they need for I Came to Party to be able to pick up that last whisper, actually be able to put some damage himself into these tanks, because yes, Darius was able to. Obviously, the Black Cleaver stack's great there, but you can't always rely on him being able to dunk every target he sees.
And of course, the bonus damage you get from getting all the stacks, it's you get to that point where you can start shredding people to pieces. But it's really only him that can do that at the minute. You can see Zillion's going to be able to get a chunk out, but you can see more and more magic resistance coming through from these targets as well. We see the Hex Drinker for the Urgot. We see the Spectre's Cowl coming out for Gecko as well. So it's becoming more and more of a necessity for Tristana to have this Last Whisperer she's now just picked up and be a damage threat.
Absolutely. On the other side, we are seeing the Mortal Reminder, which obviously is going to reduce the healing from that front line. A lot of healing from Olaf and Darius's kits, so really great pick
Also,
there.
Zillion ult counts as a heal.
True. I'm not
be-
sure. How long does Mortal Reminder last? Because I'm not sure if it lasts long enough to...
If you kill them with Mortal Reminder, I think it will proc heal, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty valuable as well then, so good pick up there. And I mean, that's the thing, the Zillion's going to be picking up his Rabadon soon, heals to a disgusting amount of HP if you do have enough AP. But, you know, cutting it in half can be quite significant, especially when he tends to be ulting this Olaf, who has quite a large HP pool himself.
It's definitely going to be great to be able to cut down that healing. It ends up meaning he'll come back on I think it's around 1.5k less health, so that can be very useful. But at the time, it's just setting up these sieges, trying to push in these waves and chip damage bit by bit away at the tower. They've got these
Rapid fires.
towers so low with the rapid fire cannons as well. They've got, yeah, they can continue chipping away.
That's what
Only
they
a
only,
matter of time.
yeah, they only need to do an auto every wave.
This is one of those things where you really need to have a banner of command, but Knights not choosing to go for that one this time. They're able to break it open even with that one.
Yeah, and Trist is going to that bot wave to clear it up. And they
5v4,
are going to
that's
get
just so free to
inhibited.
take that, yeah.
Yeah, and the issue is 40 seconds for that Elder Drake. And it's going to be, not only is it difficult to contest, but it's going to be so difficult to do anything if Loughborough manages to clear that 4 Dragon Elder buff. So much true damage. An obscene amount.
Definitely, it's 45 plus 45 per dragon, so that ends up being 180 plus 45, 225 damage burn on abilities.
And considering you have Poke from the Corki, oh, play comes out from the cat, who does manage to get knocked up into some members. Olaf's trying to run through, and Darius has fallen up, but the damage isn't there. So much going back towards the side of UEA, and Darius trying to stay alive, but does get taken out by the Caitlyn. Catsul runs out, and he's going to die too. Olaf follows up as well, and the chase comes in. A big crit on Corki isn't enough, but the ace in the hole doesn't get blocked, but just survived by the Zilean. Does use the Ceres, yeah, does save him there. Did have the Zonyas as well, but probably wouldn't have been a great idea to use that, as he would have been walked upon. But it's now 2 against 5, and they're going for this final push. These 80 carries are going to cut through these towers. One's down, Thorm's just going to block the damage. Bombs don't manage to connect with a stun, and it looks like Loughborough are going to finish the game. They are looking for the kills though. Zonya's buy some time, and the game will finish before the Zilean dies, but that's a victory over the side of Loughborough.
Loughborough, a team we don't really talk about that often, taking down the finalists of last split, the UAE Monkey Cage and their challenger jungler Lolman. It's the Tahm Kench jungle, not really a pick we expected to see, but able to pick up the first blood, able to be a big frontline threat, is able to do a lot of work for them, and these double crit ED carries, they managed to get to that stage of the game where they could shred through side of Monkey Cage, who, as we said earlier on, don't have that full, that true tank to be able to stop it. And that, in the end, was the bane of their game.
Absolutely, and not just the fact he was so tanky, but you could see in that last engage, Tahm Kench able to eat the Caitlyn up, keep her safe for a bit longer, and great play all around from Loughborough, and congratulations to them. And we will be going to a short break. We'll be going into our 3rd game, so keep watching. I'm Orcs, and this has been Sin. Switch. Hello and welcome back to Week 5, the NUEL National Championship, League of Legends, and we are about to go into our Game 3, which will be, once again, UEA against...
I believe Sussex. I'm not 100%
Sus-
right. Yeah, it's Sussex Offenders.
yeah, Sussex. Wow, what a name.
Yeah, what a name. Let's just call them Sussex.
Yeah, we'll just call them Sussex. And then player name will be the team from Sussex. Let's hit them with that one. Yeah, so we have all the players in the lobby. I will just check. Get ready.
We're going to be following UEA's journey through. And
Yeah,
I've been promised that I Came to Party will be building double rapid fire cannon this game.
yeah, I mean, I think you got to change it up. If you build, they're gonna expect a double shiv, so you have to switch.
What about double Nash's tooth? There we go with the real stuff.
Oh, that because you get 40% CDR, you know.
Yeah, well, I think 20% CDR is unique.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
never mind. That's garbage.
I remember back when people used to be able to build 2 Morellonomicons, and then they made that unique as well.
Oh yeah, that was such an OG. I remember that. Good times. Good times.
Yeah, but it's all about Transcendent Z with 5 black cleavers nowadays.
Oh yeah, the 5. Yeah, that was. Oh, I love it when you can build multiple one item. It's so cheesy. Like the throwback to the OG 6 Sunfire Evelyn.
Oh
Back
yeah,
when-
and you used to be able to do it with Twitch when his Q had like 60-second invisibility.
What a throwback! What a day! But we are going into our draft phase. I will just switch this over to C. And here we are.
So we're seeing Tristana and Caitlyn band away on one side, and the Shen and Tarek on the other. So 2 support bands, 2 AD carry bands.
Yeah, looks like they're both focusing on the bot lane,
Yeah.
but different areas of it. Interesting to see that Zaya's been left open, so that Zaya Rakan bot lane still available.
We've not really seen a priority of it on it at all today, and it's something that I suppose does take a fair amount of execution to pull off, but
Yeah,
I
and
still expect to see more of it than we have.
quite a bit of trust as well onto your bot lane, because you have to sort of, if you're going to invest, because you have to invest 2 picks into it, you would
Yeah.
normally have to you normally have to put those picks in the first rotation, and you sort of have to trust your bot lane to make work out of it. But they are going to be both left open, so could be picked up here. Looks like UA are going to at least hover this Sejuani for now.
Yeah, Lolman did play a lot of the Sejuani last season. It's one of the ways he got to Challenger in the first place, just by spamming this champion out to no end. So imagine he's got a fair amount of experience on it. One thing I'm really sad about is he was known for playing a ton of Evelyn, which is my main champion. So, and I've still not seen him play the reworked Evelyn.
Thank God.
Makes me angry, but I'm gonna shrug that one off. As we're gonna see the Sejuani. Yeah, it's a really good one. You can start to get to that point in the game where you've got the ultimate ready and you can just start chain ganking people. And there's that Zaya you talked about, but right now it's not looking like it's going to be paired with a Rakan. Instead, it's going to be paired with the Alistair. So going for a different engaging support, and I suppose that
Bit different.
Alistair provides a lot different. It's a lot more frontline based than the Rakan.
Yeah, it does have a lot more tankiness. Obviously, don't get as much damage from the shared W, and doesn't have as much mobility to bounce out again. So
I was just about to say this. We've not really seen much Varus today, and there we go. It's going to see our first Varus locked in 8.5, and it's really been a long time coming. He's such a strong AD carry in this meta, where his trading is so useful, and he's really good in the lane. But also, once you get to that mid phase, his ultimate is completely invaluable to a team.
oh, but we are seeing a Zac come out, and this is actually, I really like this comp already from the side of Sussex. There's
Yeah.
a lot of engage on this Zac and Alistair, and then obviously the Zaya is going to be very safe on her own with her ult to sort of dodge away from stuff. I think they need to get rid of the Tom Kent.
meta, or we can talk about New Swain.
True, very much. New Swain is a very formidable pick. A lot of sustained damage when he sort of pops his ult and charges it up, and then a lot of bursts at the end if he manages to get that off.
Yeah.
He's very much a fringe sort of champion. It's like you have to be in range to do damage and take damage yourself, But if you ever like fall too far behind, you'll just get blown up. So you sort of have to be in that position where you're strong enough to just weather the storm.
But it's so useful getting that CC pull whenever like Sejuani lands a stun on somebody, whenever Varus lands an ultimate, you get that pull to get them that little bit closer to you and maybe separate them from support they've got with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think I saw Hooney playing it in the NALCS recently,
Yeah.
and he managed to get so many picks from that. I mean, obviously he's obviously a great player himself, but if it is a practice pick from the side of UEA, it'd be great to see what they can do with it. Oh, and this just adds to the sort of engage in AoE CC that the side of Sussex have gone for.
Yeah, this is really such a synergistic team composition with the ability to set up the Orianna ultimate so effectively and have Xayah with supreme safety, having these two big frontliners are going to be big disruptors, in fact, for the side of Sussex. So I'm imagining what we're going to be seeing from the other side is I'd love to see a Janna right now. I think a Janna is pretty much necessary to shut down this.
If it hadn't been banned away.
So we need the Thresh, we need the
Tom Kench potentially.
Tom Kench potentially, but yeah, generally what you'd see for at this point is the Thresh to flay him out of his E when he starts to use his elastic slingshot. The flay can be so useful, but a Braum I suppose can be used in the same way with a Glacial Fissure.
I think Braum would be difficult though. You have to hope that you either have to use a good Glacial Fissure or you'd have to hope the Zac botches engage and just kite back. Thresh a bit of a safe option. Obviously adds to Varus' lack of mobility by being able to offer the lantern. And it looks like
a clutch ban with that Janna though, because that's really going to make it so much more difficult to shut down Zac's engage. And this is such a big AoE team fight bounce house coming out from Sussex.
Yeah, absolutely. And something to say about the comp of UEA is they are very much just an AP heavy composition. I mean, obviously the Varus can sort of itemize the Blade of the Ruined King for a bit of 80 damage, but I could imagine the Zac picking up a very early adaptive helm and being extremely difficult to deal with.
It can definitely be a real trouble once you start to get to that point, and when you've got the Corki plus the Varus both doing that much magic damage with their auto attacks, the Zac's going to be getting a lot of value out of that. And when you've got a Swain whose ultimate will also be reduced by adaptive helm, it's just, I think we're going to see 3 adaptive helms by the end of this game.
I think everyone's just, you know how we sometimes see Abyssal Mask on mid laners?
Yeah.
Just stuff that, just build an adaptive helm. Yeah, adaptive helm rush Ori. Maybe on Xayah as well. Why not? Maybe we'll see an AD Swain come out to counter. Who knows? That'd be really spicy. But
the funny thing with mid lane is just whenever you see them even remotely touch Banner of Command, we see a full tank mid laner with Banner of Command. This time it's been Sion. The time before it was Nautilus mid. I remember seeing Alex Each playing it in NA when he was playing for Renegades. Full tank Nautilus mid with first item Banner of Command, second item ZZ Rock Portal, and running it down mid with a giant cannon minion.
Yeah, not a fun thing to play against if you're like a mid laner who just likes to kill waves and actually play the game. But
I mean, I can't talk much because I actually used to play Heimerdinger with Banner of Command Rush whenever I was up against an AP top laner.
Oh, that is disgusting.
Yeah, I remember up against like a Lissandra or a Lulu and they just don't get to do anything.
I remember there used to be a guy on EU West who was quite high elo, peaked like Challenger or something, who was called Smitinger.
Oh yeah.
And he used to play Heimerdinger and go Smite. And you might think, oh, I bet there was some really like in-depth. Nope, he just used to do that. And
the reason he gave was it helps me push waves.
Yeah, like because you think, oh, maybe he does declare like a camp level 1, or maybe he goes for jungle. But nope, he just smites waves. Like I feel like it's one of those things where he picked the name. He's like, wow, it'd be so cool calling myself Smite Dinger and go and smite Heimerdinger. And then he just does it. You know, like he does it and he just sticks with it, and it's like, this is my thing, even though it's probably not the best. So, I mean, I still remember the times when you would see top laners go smite and build a jungle item. Those were dark days indeed.
Oh god, our Hooney with Cinder Hulk Lee Sin.
Oh, don't want to talk.
Cinder Hulk Hecarim was the worst one though, wasn't it?
Oh god. Oh, I remember when Hecarim used to go Moby Boots Rush. No, not Moby Boots. Home Guard Rush. Just run back from bit. Oh,
but that was so fun when you'd see him TP in from half the map away, and then E in to the team fight from like he's TP'd into the red buff and he makes it into Dragon Pit.
So fun.
It was
Sort of
so
missed
fun.
it.
No, it was at least good as a spectator, I can say that much.
Yeah, not fun to play against. Yeah, I don't think there's anything too outlandishly cheesy right now in the game that I can think of. Particularly not in this game. Everything seems fairly standard. But interesting to see how these comps sort of go, because I feel like it's going to be difficult to cut through. Well, both teams have pretty solid front lines. Obviously, the Na and the Zac offer the Na and the Swain offer quite a bit of damage, but aren't as inherently tanky as Sejuani and Zac. But I think a lot of it's going to come down to execution and how they manage to make their comps work.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of tools for great engages and great team fights on the side of Sussex. But it involves being able to set those up, get some good engages, and layer the CC effectively. Because it's about getting through the early game to get to that point where you can start to make those plays happen. Because if we see, for example, a Lolman start popping off on the Sejuani, giving Karma Envy an advantage in the top lane, giving them the ability to start the snowball rolling for themselves, then it's really hard to get one of these AoE team fights to work. And even so, it's still such a huge comeback mechanic, so they've drafted really effectively here.
I think so too. And I think well, I mean, both teams have, because we said, there's a lot of engage, a lot of play potential. But on the other side, I mean, I think that's the thing is that the Cat, we saw the Thresh banned away from him last game, is someone who does like this champ very much. And he is now in a position where he can make aggressive plays. Because I think in the early levels, Thresh Varus are going to do very well into Xayah Alice.
Oh, definitely. Xayah's going to take a while to really have that much relevancy. She's usually going to be wanting to use that W to try and push out the waves early on. But we're seeing this 5-man unit going hard here.
We'll see the 5-man unit once I change the scene.
Oh, that's it. Corki wins the game. He got a ward at level 1. That's 10 extra gold. A huge gold lead for the side of UAE Monkey Cage. That 1 CS is going to really be relevant as the game goes on.
Yeah, and it just shows the snowball starting early. If you actually look, the side of UAE has an infinite amount more of gold than the other side. There's 0 gold from the side of Sussex, so infinitely ahead.
It's a massive amount to be ahead right now, and it's really going to be effective in making sure that snowball can be rolling through the mid lane where you want to be shutting down that Orianna, making sure she can't get the damage that she needs to be able to get these big shockwaves off. Because if she starts to be pressured out early on, if we can see Little Man start to pressure out the Orianna, then the shockwave's just going to tickle somebody, and it doesn't really matter anywhere near as much.
We'll see the game starting off. Bit of trading going back and forth in the mid lane. We are seeing only minion dematerializers on the Thresh. Can help. Can actually use a bit of a little trick. Minion dematerialize a minion, obviously, and throw your hook as it's about to die.
Yeah.
A little sneaky one. Sure, someone's probably going to comment on my pronunciation of hook. I am from the north. Feel free to judge me, but I'm not going to say it differently. And we're actually seeing the stopwatch on the Zac as well. So maybe you want to use that for a bit of extra diving power. Bit of extra survivability in the game. Extra
It's not going to
playmaking.
be active until around the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, so very late point. Very late point indeed. Does obviously give you 15% reduced cooldown on Zhonya's. So, and Gargoyle Stoneplate, which is probably something he's more likely to invest in. Not sure if you would want to pick that one up, but something we haven't seen so much is this sort of stopwatch pickup since the cooldown. This, not the cooldown, rather this when it becomes available got nerfed.
Yeah, the activation timer on the commencing stopwatch.
Lolman is here in the mid. Flashes instantly, doesn't get the slow from his W, so TK able to walk away, and it was a good flash to avoid that. Not just the damage, but the slow coming in. But happy time noise.
The jungle flash for the mid flash. He doesn't want to give up Nerve's flash there because we know there's a Zac on the opposing side. The moment Nerve gives up his flash, he's so much more vulnerable.
Yeah, and obviously Sejuani has her mobility in herself, has her Q to escape. Good trade for Karma Envy here on this Swain. Shows he is quite knowledgeable in this champion who has very recently got reworked and is confident laning into the Gnar.
It's I'm really curious to see how this Swain chooses to itemize. I feel like he's got such a variable itemization path. So, however Karma Envy chooses to try and maximize the potential that you can get from it, it's going to be interesting to me. You can see he's already got 3 stacks of that passive, and once you get to 5 stacks, that's the maximum. Your ultimate will do the maximum amount of damage possible on the explosion half of it, so it can be very useful to stack those up early, because he's already level 4. Once he hits level 6, he can just instantly get that large burst available to him.
And that's the thing, is that Anar is extremely squishy when he's a mini, and if you can dictate the fight, if you can force an engage on him, you can just burst him out before he even gets a chance to go mega.
Yeah. And that's the ability, that's the way you're going to be looking to shut him down here. But the bot lane, you can see, is still pushing in. Mid lane, it's actually Teke getting a small advantage over Nerve. Nerve, once again, having issues in the early laning phase. And this is something we've seen consistently from him. He's always down CS in these early phases, and he relies on these mid-game skirmishes to try and catch up. And that's really where he shows his strength.
Yeah, he does have TP though, so he will be able to get back in lane with full HP. It's something I will say. I'm not sure on... I can't comment on the true actual matchup between Orianna and Corki, but from my experiences playing Corki, I absolutely despise that matchup. So, I really feel for Nerve at this point. It's not a fun one to play whenever you go for trades with the Orianna. She obviously can auto back, but also use her ball to quite a bit of burst on you. But he will be able to use his TP, picks up the corrupting potion. So going for a bit of X-Stain here. I think he might have already had that, but yeah, I think he picked up the...
No, he just picked up the corrupting potion and a control ward on
and a
his
control.
base.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go for the X-Stain here, and I think he needs that because a lot of poke coming out from the Orianna.
Definitely so, and Orianna, having changed her build up to what could be considered the classic going back towards the tier, is definitely needs something to keep up with that level of mana sustain that Orianna's going to have in the lane. Just Karma Envy, he got the 5 stacks here, but oh, here comes Lolnan.
Yeah, going very aggressive. Doesn't manage to get the passive stun, but then pull back from Swain will secure the kill before he even needs his ult.
He didn't even really have his ult available until after he used it, so...
Zach is here in the mid lane, but doesn't land his jump. Gets the Q slow, but isn't able to do much else. We are being shown a support 1v1 bot lane.
Corki is just able to walk to safety anyway in that mid lane, but yeah, it's really just a slow early game other than that play in the top lane. We're just waiting for the junglers to really make an impact on this. The lane's fairly quiet, not really big trades going on, just kind of CSing up. They all kind of mutually agreed to farm lanes, and the junglers are the only people are allowed to break that.
Yeah, and I mean, Lolman did a great job there breaking it. I managed to punish this Gnar, who's now without a flash, and is looking to go towards his Hex Drink. But you see, the Swain has already picked up the Catalyst, and Chappie is just sitting on components here, so gonna be struggling a bit. Wasn't doing the best initially trading to Swain, but it's gonna be even harder now.
I think what Nosh should be doing is going Mercury threads into Black Leader. So I would rather see him go that than the Hex Drinker. I think the Hex Drinker would be too aggressive a build. He needs to be the tank, a tank for this team, because he is going to be taking a lot of damage on the front line. Because Zach, not really looking to stand directly in front of the Corki and the Varus, he's looking to fly over them.
Oh, aggressive play comes in mid. All the CCs land in. Who can't be sidestepped? Flash isn't available, and the kill will go over. And this is the power of that pick from the cat. Really solid thresh play, and he reads the sidestep from TK. I managed to punish, and if you see, the flash is coming up in less than 30 seconds, so really well timed play there for the side of UAE.
And like you said, the thresh specialist and shows up able to pick up that assist. Really nice hook. And I'm loving this though, constantly on Karma Envy, able to set up the all-seeing eye with the Nether...
Stun comes in onto this Alistair though, and he will just get finished off by the damage from the Varus. Ult comes down, locks down the Zac, and he will get stunned up. He does have his passive here. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get any help. No TP will be available to keep him alive. Oh, and he does actually survive it, but will die straight after. So, ends up going down. And that's the issue, is that Toaster Trolley on this Alistair went aggressive before he had his level 6. Got locked up by Lolman07, and what a game he is having here. 2-0-2, 100% kill participation, taking over.
And this is really what we expected from him when we see the name, the Challenger Jungler, literally top 40 last split in terms of, last season rather, in terms of the overall rankings. And he needs to prove that pedigree as he lost in the final last season to Scudzy. So trying to make up for that and prove his worth as he got completely out-jungled in that series.
And I think that's the thing, is that sometimes nerves can get the best of you in these competitive stages, in these competitive experiences.
Yeah.
And that's something that Scudzy, maybe not being as high elo, but does have over the likes of Lolman, is that competitive experience. This is something that this is what he's trying to work on. You know, he's had that experience, he's been in the finals. Yes,
He's playing in the
unfortunately lost.
German league now.
Yeah, so he is getting that experience in. He's playing in different national leagues, and he's trying to be this veteran for his team, have the experience, have the confidence, and you can see it's coming out here. He's willing to go for these aggressive plays, even when he's on a Sejuani, which isn't necessarily the most aggressive early game jungler.
But it is still his jungler. This is the jungler that carried him all the way to Challenger. So I can imagine it's really risky to give this one away to him. It's not one we've seen really from him in general because it's always banned.
Yeah, and I mean, Sussex clearly thought they could handle it, but it looks like so far they're struggling. And another thing is this Thresh that they decided to leave open and is now, I mean, oh, flash combo does come in bot lane though. Looking to get the CC on Varus, he does flash away, avoiding that stun. Zac is here though, misses the Q. They're trying to get a trade back onto the Xayah, but she does survive. Didn't have ult, so that could have been a close one.
Yeah, the Zac with the great timing there ends up coming in just after the flash was used, so I came to he doesn't have a chance to escape. But
Yeah,
Lolman
goes top. Great stun onto Chappie. He's going to get Mega soon, but doesn't find it. Finished off by the damage from Swain. In return, Sussex is going to look for this Ocean Dragon, but they might lose top tower.
Yeah, I think they are going to lose the top tower. They're choosing to give up first tower for first dragon, and already being 2k down, that is a really risky decision.
I think it's one of those situations where they went for the play bot lane. They're not really in a position to save this tower top. I think they just had to concede it and take the best they can.
But they had
As you
three
said-
members bot lane. They could have at least tried to collapse and push a big wave onto the tower, see if they could get that first tower for themselves. But instead, just conceding it to Lolman and Karma Envy. That's another big chunk of gold to fall behind. Already down over 3k gold.
Oh, Zac looks for an engaged mid. Shockwave follows. In comes the Valkyrie. Flash will get out of the ult from Zac. And this Corki seemed extremely tanky there. Didn't take very much damage at all, considering the situation.
Really just able to sneak his way out of that one. Fairly close, but had to flash out of the kidnap to stop Zac being able to drag him away. But well done in terms of the Q directly into the shockwave, holding him in place to maximize the damage output they could get.
It still felt, I don't know. To me, it just felt like they landed. The Zac got his knockback. They landed the Oriel, landed the Ori damage. He was still sitting a half HP. I mean, yes, he
Yeah.
needed a flash out of the kidnap, but even so, like, didn't seem to be taking that much damage. And now he's picked up this Phage. I think this is the issue. This Orianna is only really sitting on this tier right now, has picked up Lost Chapter. And Zac, if he doesn't land his E, which he maxes, he's not offering that much base damage. And I think that's the thing. The last two ganks he's done, the one he did bot lane, he didn't land his E on top of the Varus. And the one he did mid lane, again, he didn't land his E on top of the Corki. And I feel like in these trades that might be a bit close, you need that extra damage.
It's definitely fair. It's a case of you're gonna have the damage from your mid laner to be able to back it up. Even if you end up missing on your E, if you're able to set up the CC, you need to trust that your mid laner has the damage to finish off the kill. And right there, Orianna, not quite enough to be able to do so. And he's just gonna slink off back into his jungle. But we're seeing a big advantage still here for the side of UEA with over a 3k gold lead. And the
UAE
getting to this point.
UAE, UEA, it's one of them, it's both of them, it's all of them.
I don't know. It's the one from Boku no Hero. That one. I think that's UEA.
UEA, UAE, wouldn't say, I mean, any variation. Looks like Sejuani is going to try and get in bot lane, but will get spotted out by a ward. Doesn't really care anyway, he's just going to stay in the bush. And, oh, what timing! Manages to burn the ult and then still land his. gets the lockdown on the Zaya and gets the kill. Great play from Lolman.
Able to fake him out with the ultimate, yeah, as
Yes.
you said. Baiting
Itchy
out
trigger.
the ultimate from the Zaya and then holding on to his own for longer. Really well done there, but now they're looking to try and pressure out the bottom tower, but Zac has turned up to try and deny them.
Yeah, it was just a bit of an itchy trigger finger from the Zaya to use it before the ult had actually been fired. Maybe a bit of nerves. The difficulty is, it's going to be... Oh, TP will come in behind from the Gnar. Engage comes in from the Zac. Does interrupt the Lantern. And will kidnap the Varus back. But there isn't the damage here. Gnar comes in a bit late, but he does have his Mega. Flayed away by Thresh. He's trying to find the Varus. Doesn't manage to knock him back. Doesn't land the stun either. And the Shockwave misses as well. This is going really bad for the side of Sussex. But they do finally manage to get on top of this Varus, but at what cost? They lose the Gnar, and it looks like the Orianna will go down as well.
They lose, yeah, as you say, they lose Varus, but overall, that's 4 kills picked up. And Zaya has come back, but they're still going to end up most likely losing this tower.
Oh, and the pullback lands on Isaiah! And she dies as well. Great play from Karma Envy on the Swain. And great play all around from
100% kill
UEA.
participation from Lolman still sitting at 3-0 and 7. Really well done from him, and he's really showing up this game.
Yeah, I just feel like it was a bit of a outclass in that skirmish. I mean, there were so many abilities that just didn't land on the Varus, so they had to invest so much into killing him. And by that point, they just didn't have anything left. And the Corki turns up and just cleans up. I mean, they burnt the Gnarl, they burnt the Shockwave, and neither of them even hit the Varus. So they have to invest so much.
Compare this, though. The Zac has an uncompleted Cinderhulk and Boots versus Cinderhulk, Warmogs, and Boots.
Ouch. Yeah, not a great situation to be in. Not at all.
That's uncomfortable when you know the Sejuani is that much stronger than you. When they both have percentage health damage on their abilities, it means that she can effectively out-trade him as well.
Yeah, and I think the issue is as well is that not just on the jungler, but you're looking at Gnar with uncompleted Black Fever. You're looking at Isaiah on just an Essence Reaver, which is such a weak spike compared to a Ginsu's.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at an Orianna who's right now stacking up her Archangel staff compared to a Corki who's now level 11, gets his level 2 ult, and has his Triforce. So many spikes to the side of UE, and they will go for ult on top of this Orianna. The CC's there, and a clean kill onto TK. And they're now going to look for the mid tower off this.
And this is the strength of Varus in the mid game. He's setting up these CC plays from Lolman so effectively, as well as being able to make his own. And that's going to get them the mid lane tower.
Yep, Chappie trying to make something happen there, but Toaster Trolley comes in bot lane, gets the CC on top of Nerve. Zaya tries to put the damage back, but doesn't manage to get the root. Stun comes in, and the final hit is there, but in return, UEA are just going to keep pushing mid lane. They CC this squishy Zac, he has no items, and it shows. Gets put into his passive almost instantly, and the Ginsu's damage will clean it up, and they will look to finish off the tower.
And he still has his stopwatch apparently, so not made use of that one yet.
Yeah, bit of a fumble risky, let's say, on that one.
Yeah.
And UEA are going to take this red buff away, sort of add an insult to injury. Now at an 8k gold lead over the team from Sussex, and it's not looking great for them.
And so now it's 12-3, yeah, 8k at 17 minutes. This is a huge advantage, and now they're trying to transition out of the laning phase. They've got all these outer towers down, and they just need to be able to look to setting up team fights, getting control around this barren area, because Rift Herald's still up, can be used to help break open the base should they need.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not over yet. It does look dire, don't get me wrong. Sussex are obviously very far behind, but we've said how great a team fight Sussex can have if they land everything. If they get a lot of AoE, if they land a big Orianna Shockwave onto both carries, they can still win this game. They just need one hell of a team fight.
When you see a Wit's End coming out for I Came to Party, is there really enough damage there to be able to pick them up quick enough?
I mean, you're going to need a lot. You're going to need to land absolutely everything and throw the kitchen sink at them as well. But there's somewhat of potential. I think they need to stall out though, and that's going to be difficult because UEA have been so good at just pushing their lead here. And there just needs to be some breathing room for the side of Sussex if they want to get some more items. Because as you said, Wit's End coming out soon from this Varus, they need a bit of time to get some damage so that when they do get that combo, it actually manages to kill him.
Definitely so. It's getting to that point in the game where you can effectively land the combo, but you need to be able to set it up as well. And they're going to get the second dragon of the game. It's really willing to just concede these dragons on the side of UEA, so they have to make up something else on the map for it. They're just trying to set up a potential push in this top lane right.
I think that's one of the things. Shows a bit of confidence from the side of UEA. They're not willing to sort of invest themselves into the bot side of the map. It's only a Cloud Drake. They don't plan for it to ever get to the point of an Elder Drake. They plan to win a lot. Yeah,
that?
they plan to win out a lot sooner than that, and so they decided to put pressure towards top side. And yes, side do get that dragon, but they end up losing pressure top, and you can see the control that is being given over that of UEA. They are looking for the stun onto Xayah. She just ult to avoid it, and Zac will come in. Good disengage from the Thresh though. He's rooted up, and there will be enough damage to take him out. Xayah goes down as well, and the Alistar is all alone in 4. His ult keeps him alive for a bit. Shockwave comes in. It gets 2, but not the full 4. Alistar's going to try and walk out, and he does get away, but it's definitely a one team fight for the side of UE. I thought that was going to be the 4-man Shockwave. I don't think it would have won them the team fight, but it would have looked cool.
It's definitely starting to get to the point where you can have that fantasy hero, but look at the Rift Herald here. It's going to be storming down this top lane, and still got a fair amount of help, so they can look to break open the inhibitor tower, maybe even the inhibitor with this, while Swain is holding off this Gnar on the bottom side. But they are just going to choose to back off back to base. They don't want to push any further.
Yeah, I think they're going to look to tempo on the Baron. Yeah. I think they don't want to overpush. They're respecting their opponents because they saw, yes, the Shockwave didn't land on 4, but they saw the potential, and I think they're like, we don't want to overpush. We're going to set up the Baron. We're so far ahead. Let's not throw. Because they are 10k gold ahead. That's 500 gold per minute lead they have from this game.
It's incredible, isn't it, when you can see that? And it's all off of the back of that Corki level 1, destroying the ward first.
Yep. I mean, we said from there it was going to snowball heavily, and it did.
It really did.
Almost insurmountable. And you can see Varus has now got a Wit's End.
Yeah.
That extra MR going to really help against that AoE damage from the Ori and the Zac and the Alistar as well. That's something people don't often talk about, but a champion like Alistar has quite a lot of base damage. He does obviously max his Pulverize. After that, puts points into his W, and there's quite a bit of base damage on his combo. So you getting that extra MR is just going to give you a lot more survivability, because realistically, the Varus isn't going to be hit by many else apart from the tanks, but looks like they're going to engage onto the Orianna, and she will just get blown up instantly.
Well, goodbye Orianna, I guess, and that's going to mean a lot of the wave clears missing, so they can set up a really effective siege here. So yeah. Swain's getting some free ship damage on this bottom lane tower while they wait for the wave to arrive. And
yeah, I think
now the mid lane's going to push in for free as well.
I think Sussex have to give this up. I think you wait for the Orianna to spawn. Spawn time is still very short at this point in the game. Oh, but Lawman does look to be going aggressive. Pull back from the Swain, lands on the Xayah. She flashes, does manage to find time to ult. And they will try and keep going. Combo from the Alistar is going to buy some time. Ult's going to keep him alive. But UEA are fine here. They have got a banner of command, and they've just dropped it down on a minion. And they're going to keep pushing. Shockwave comes in. Zac tries to follow up, but it only kills the Thresh. Zac's going to ult out, but the Swain is massive and devastating the backline for Sussex. Nar's turned up now, but he isn't really doing much damage. And it looks like the inhibitor's going to go down. Varus is stepping up on the Xayah. Tries to sidestep. Zac keeps him in place, and he will eventually go down. But no one can challenge the Corki yet. Corki and Swain so strong here. Gnar trying to get the damage onto him. About to go mega, but no flash. Combo comes in on 3. Gnar is here. Gets it into the wall, but the Zhonya's is going to buy some time for the Swain. Still got a lot of damage. They have to be careful. Oh, good knock away from the Alistar. Just keeps his Xayah alive. And that is exactly what you need if you're a Sussex supporter, because, I mean, it was messy, but they won a team fight.
It's really messy, as you say, but this is really what you talked about earlier, overstaying from the sides of the winning teams, and this time it's going to be UEA overstepping their bounds, and they give up a few kills for it. The Baron has spawned, so they have the ability to take control of the area, and there's not really much of a chance of Zac stealing it. It has to be
pretty much a blind steal at this point.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, when you win a fight like that, when you're this far behind, you can see what Toaster Trolley is trying to do. You have to go and try and sneak some wards around Baron because you know it's such a huge threat.
It's definitely important to get those wards there and make sure that that can't be snuck away by anybody. Not really sure that there's enough damage to even take Baron at this point on the other side, but can't really just afford to disrespect Sussex entirely. Toaster Trolley just gonna bop the chat over the wall.
See you later, mate. Get back on your side of the map.
This is my side, that's your side. You see the line.
Oh, ult comes in from Lolman. Oh, Barristel actually misses there. Ult comes in and knock a couple on the wall, but doesn't land on the Corki, and the damage will come through and he'll get shot down. Bit of a mistake from the Varus, but it doesn't really matter. Chappie overextended by far.
It's used to be the case that Varus's ultimate was the hardest skill shot to land in the game. Nowadays it seems a lot easier, but still occasionally it just seems to phase through something. They still get the kill onto Gnar, but now the engage from Zac.
Huge combo from the Zac. So much AoE damage, and this is the wombo they need. Great team fight from the side of Sussex, but the Swain is here. They need to CC him. They need to lock him up because he's providing so much damage. Zonya's going to buy some time. Oh, and he looks for the Orianna. Orianna in 0 HP, the auto attack of all things, finishes her off. But a great team fight once again from the side of Sussex. They still have life, but super minions are pushing in the bot. Gnar will go to clear them up. What a great team fight. They're chasing down the Sejuani.
It's barely able to get away, but Sejuani does have that warm mods available, so we'll be able to just heal all this back up. Look, he's building the Abyssal Mask as well, so we'll have even more survivability and magic damage for that matter fairly soon. So it's a really chaotic, a really nice fight. We sort of laid the CC effectively, able to get the a good Orianna ultimate down, but it wasn't enough for the ace. It wasn't enough to clean up completely. And we see that Swain comes in, picks up a kill for himself, and Zac is able to escape.
I think that's the thing, is that the Sejuani is so tanky, is even when you kill the carries, the Sejuani just brushes off all that AoE damage. The thing is that they are now starting to get more items. Xayah is building towards that Infinity Edge, does have the BF and pickaxe, and that's so what you need, because this is the thing, with a crit 80 carry like Xayah, yes, you aren't as strong as Varus on 2 items, and yes, you're still behind in items right now, but once you get 3, you'll be in a good position. But that's an ult already burned from Toaster Trolley. Good respect, knew you had to get away from the hook, but they're not going to be able to teamfight without that. Lolman playing very aggressive now. Package is behind him.
Oh, really?
Oh, what a great hook on Xayah. Unable to do anything. And then the ult on Orianna as well. No cleanse, and the package will overlap. Orianna dies as well. Zac is now in the middle of 3, and it's not a situation you want to be in. Great snipe on the Bass Plant, and he's now going to go into his passive. This could be it for this side of Sussex.
Yeah, down.
2 great team fights, but it doesn't matter. When your base is already down inhibitor, you only need to lose 1 fight to lose the game. And the UAE are going to start to push up. They have a banned melee minion and this super minion, with only a Gnar, who's very weak, and this Alistair to stop them. Alistair tries to CC the carries. Good attempt, but with no ult, he's probably going to go down quickly. Looks like they're not even focusing. They're on the tower. They do take him down now. Gnar gets locked up. He's going to go down as well. 4 in 1 for the Xayah, but it's not going to be enough. And UEA bounce back from their loss last game to win this one out. Great victory over Sussex.
You can't build a double Shiv item if you don't get by a double Zeal item, and it ends up being the 10, 4, and 8. I came to party trying to make up for last game. Really nice ultimates, pairing up with LolMan07 so effectively, and they're able to close out the game with those picks. And that's UEA Monkey Cage taking down Sussex.
Great play from them, and we said, you know, they are a finalist team. Was a bit messy from the previous game where they didn't manage to lose out, but great performance from Lolman. 100% kill participation for that entire game of 23 and unkilled. So what a performance from him, really showing why he is one of these top tier players. But great performance from Sussex on the other side. Yes, they fell behind early and were struggling, but putting some good team fights and definitely showed some life there. But that will be it from us here. That was our last game of the night. And I'd just like to say thank you very much to everyone who tuned in.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Hope you enjoyed the games, and be sure to tune in next week, where I believe we are going to the quarterfinals. So it'll be great to watch. And this has been Orcs, and to my co-caster, Sin. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for everyone who's came and watched tonight. And have a great night.